uncertainty as Kentucky Derby winner always dreaming, and Preakness champ Cloud Computing line up for the rematch. We'll have all the latest. And speaking of rematches, By the Moon and Paula's Silver Lining last met in the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint, whose win streak will come crashing down. It's all next on Saratoga Live. A narrow defeat as the favorite in the Honorable Miss last year. Paula's Silver Lining returns in a new barn with some unfinished business. Michelle Nevin used to be the trainer of last year's Honorable Miss favorite. Now she'll try and beat her with By the Moon, who rides a 2-race win streak coming into today's main event. But it's a new face at Saratoga who could spoil the party. Finley's Lucky Charm has won 6 of her last 7 as she gets set for her Saratoga debut. Hello everybody and welcome to Saratoga Live as we begin week 2 of this Saratoga meet. It's presented by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. Beautiful weather for this Wednesday afternoon, and it's Military Appreciation Day as Saratoga pays tribute to those members and veterans in appreciation of their service to our country. Great to have them on hand, and thank you for joining us as well. Greg Wolf alongside former backstop for the New York Mets and Los Angeles Dodgers, Paula Duca, Gabby Gaudet, our racing analysts, and we got a good feature coming up today. 2 of the leaders in this division who met last in the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint, going head-to-head, former stablemates.
Yeah, both were trained by Michelle Nevin. Now one in the Chad Brown barn, and Paula Silver Lining has been tough as nails. She has a lot of want in what I say in horses. You say grit, we saw with Lady Eli. Paula's a little bit like that as well.
Really, the top 3 horses in the race that are figuring to take money, and Finley's Lucky Charm, Paula Silver Lining, and By the Moon. These horses are so honest, and it's going to be a good race later today.
The Churchill Downs horse, the horse in Invader now, is very, very fast. We'll see if it can come here to Saratoga.
Well, let's take a look at this field for the Grade 2 Honorable Miss. Since Paula's Silver Lining has moved to Chad Brown's barn, bought by Juddmonte Farms last fall, she's reeled off back-to-back Grade 1 wins, but both came at 7 furlongs. As for the other runner in here, who's pretty darn talented herself, let's go to Maggie Wolfendale with more on Finley's Lucky Charm.
And we were just talking about Paula Silver Lining. Well, she's 10 for 20 in her life, but Finley Silver Charm, she's 8 for 10. Now, she is the youngest of this crew of 5. She is the lone 4-year-old here in today's Honorable Miss handicap. But, boy, she is fast. As Paulie was alluding to, she's likely to be the pace setter in here. But trainer Brett Calhoun citing that she's drawn well, she's posted well. So if anybody wants to go to the inside of her, he does feel as though she can sit off of it and rate kindly. Now, this is her first start here in New York, and the only lone losses that she has in her career when she tried to go 2 turns and in Grade 1 company. So she's the newest shooter, she's the fresh face, but boy, she looks as though she's coming in to this Honorable Miss handicap in the right kind of way. We'll see how she matches up with Paula Silver Lining and By the Moon. But for more on this race and the rest of our races covered here on today's show, we'll head over to Andy Serling and Frank Miramati.
Thanks a lot, Maggie, and it's great to be here with Frank Miramati, your first trip to Saratoga in many years. Finley's Lucky Charm, this is a very, very fast horse, and if you look at her record, the only bad race, she dueled in the fast pace going long, so sprinting, she's 8 for 9 with a second. I think she's going to be very tough to catch, Frank.
She is, and I actually like the fact, Andy, that she is the youngest in here, because these other 2 have really had tremendous campaigns, but if they're ever going to have a chance to get beaten, it might be by a filly who is undefeated at this distance, drawn beautifully on the outside.
So you know,
I think she rates a very long look in here, and you know she's going to have to beat both Paula Silver Lining and By the Moon. All 3 of these horses could easily win this race. Nothing would surprise me.
And they're having great years, and that's the nice thing. You've got all these horses coming into this race at the top of their game, and with Finley's Lucky Charm, you know, it's going to be interesting to see if she can bring her game to New York, but you could argue one of the best races she ever ran was out at Santa Anita when she finished second to Constellation, going 7 furlongs, involved in the blazing pace. So it's not as though she hasn't brought her game on the road before. All of these horses have run well shipping.
And Constellation looked like she had her every step of that race, but she fought all the way to the end, and Constellation is a common foe for these horses. I think the right strategy with her is to absolutely send her out of there and to let her go as fast as she can, as quickly as possible. We know the future for Paula Silver Lining is going to be a date with Arrogate at Juddmonte.
Well, we also know Paula Silver Lining is the leader of the division, as she has won 2 Grade 1s this year. The Honorable Miss takes second seat to no race.
Yeah, it's going to be real interesting. Chad Brown has said she might be even better or more effective at 6 or 6.5 furlongs. So we're going to find out this afternoon. Those 2 Grade 1s this year since she has moved to Chad Brown's barn. Again, both coming at 7 furlongs. But it's going to be a tremendous feature. That is race 9 that we look forward to in the Honorable Miss. Track conditions for this afternoon. Well, it's been beautiful weather all afternoon long. They're brought to you by John Deere. The main track started out good. It's been upgraded to fast turf condition, listed as good for today's races. And we're going to begin with the start of the late pick 4, race 7, mile and 3/8 over the inner turf. Race 8, 5.5 furlongs. We have a turf sprint in a New York bred entry level allowance. That big showdown for some of the best in that division. In the Honorable Miss coming up in the 9th, and we'll close things out mile and a 16th on the inner turf. New York bred $40,000 maiden claiming race. Don't just watch, play along from home as well. Bet the action from home, opening a Naira Bets wagering account. And bet 200, you'll get 200 in your account. Use that promo code PICK5 to take advantage. You can get signed up and started nationwide with Naira Bets. And of course, when you do so, you can be part of that Naira Bets late pick 5 as well, which today is already underway. Terrific crowd on hand for Wednesday action as we get set here for week 2. And week 2, anything like week 1, we had all kinds of fireworks over the weekend.
We really did. The pick 5, we got a carryover in the opening weekend. We're obviously not going to get that today. We started off with a 4 to 5 shot. This is a tricky race here, Gabby, because you have a horse in Voodoo Song that's basically wheeling back one opening day very easily and is wheeling back and to go a little bit of a distance of ground. And Vintage Matters is a kind of horse that's tough to read because you really don't know if he's a hanger or not, or he really likes to win or not.
It's a good question, but I do think that he's going to get a good pace in front of him here today. And Voodoo Song, surprised to see this horse at 6 to 5 right now. Now, we do know that Linda Rice, she's really good with horses wheeling back around just on short rest. However, on the turf, she's 0 for 16. It's not successful angle on the turf. So we'll see if Voodoo Song has enough in the tank to duplicate a performance that we saw last time out, which was explosive, Paulie.
Yeah, barely cooled out from this race.
No, well, you're right. I mean, what ended up happening was she was a tiny bit rank early, and the only reason why was Lascano was trying to control her, but it did not matter. He sort of let her go and opened up by 8 or 9, and this was the result.
Yeah, there's other pace in this race. I don't necessarily think that he needs the lead. He was a horse that was just so dominant in the field that he faced last time out. In his last turf victory, he actually closed from off of the pace, so I think he's actually pretty versatile.
Yeah.
Well, we know Michael Dickinson, his great reputation of bringing horses back off the bench off long layoffs to do well. Vintage Matters came back first start of the year since November. Ran on May the 12th, ran a very big number in that race, but still may have to improve off that to win today.
Yeah, should have to improve. Listen, this is a good backtrack to look at. You know, a couple times this horse has caused his own problems. I would say multiple times. And then this last time here, I thought there was no excuse now. There was plenty of pace to run at. If you go back to the other races, Gabby, I picked this horse on top. You watch this race, it worries you.
Is it an optical illusion? Did we see Wrapped just be that tenacious in that game on the inside, or did we see a little bit of a hanging matter there from Vintage Matters?
It's tough. It's tough. The bobs of the head there, the horses don't really want to pass horses there. You know, I was talking to Andy before, and we both sort of said, we sort of like this horse, but it's, you know, it's one of those horses you're going to have to play with trepidation at 5 to 2, basically.
If the pace falls apart in front of him, he won't have any hanging to do when it's all
That's
said
true,
and done.
too.
Yeah, and again, you know, big variable, too, at a mile and 3/8. Who's going to have enough to finish here? The only time this horse did go a mile and 3/8, Vintage Matters. Granted, he was a maiden back then, but we didn't see that closing kick. Paul, what are you doing here in the late pick?
Well, I couldn't trust the 3 Vintage Matters. So I went 2, 3, 6, and 8 in here. You know, the next race to me was confusing. I actually liked Held at Gunpoint. At the grand scheme of things, I end up liking the 7, Freud's Friend, a little bit. I left Animal Posse, the 10, out late. I just think Paula Silverlining has gotten better than By the Moon, and you just cannot leave off Finley's Lucky Charm. To me, she passed the test even more last time when she got dead left and still won that race. I know she hasn't raced against much, and today's going to be the acid test, but I think she's the real deal. In race number 10, she remembered, you know what? I did remember when Gabby Gaudet told me that Jeremiah Engelhardt is 3% going long on the turf. You got to take a shot. That's the only thing he's bad at. So I thought the 10 could be tough in there per gems. The 13 draws in. I think that's a key draw in.
Yeah, definitely remember that. You mentioned she remembered. She got bottled up in that race. She showed a real good late burst when she did get some room in the lane. So that's a wide open finale we have. Let's send it downstairs, see what Frank Miramati did for this late pick 4.
Frank, you involved in this late pick 4? I know you're just involved.
I'm involved at all times, but especially in this late pick 4. And Paul and I see it very differently. There's no way we're going to coexist at the cashier's line.
Me either.
If it comes to fruition. In this first leg, I'm going to use the 3 logical horses. Clutch Cargo, who I think has a nice stride, comes late. Vintage Matters, who, if ever a horse needed a race, it was him last time. But I'm actually going to pick Voodoo Song on top. If Linda Rice thinks this horse can come back in 4 days, that's good enough for me. Her record over the years speaks volumes about her ability to do so. In the 8th race, I thought Ellen Z's performance last time out was admirable in defeat to New York Song, who was making it back-to-back wins, and Animal Posse shortening up, drawn beautifully on the outside. I'll use the 3 obvious ones in race 9, and I cannot cash unless She Remembered takes care of business. I think She Remembered is an absolute standout in the finale.
I don't think she's a standout. I think she had a perfect trip last night, but she can win. She's on. I'm live in the pick 5, like everyone. I had the 4 to 5 in the first leg. I agree with you on Animal Posse. I like that horse, and Paul left it out. He must have left it out because I told him I liked it, so he immediately did the right thing and put an X through her. But I agree. She's one that Paul left out that I was surprised to see him leave out. I think that she's very he's dangerous. This race is interesting. The 8's over bet, but Linda Rice on the turf, Gabby pointed out, she has good numbers on short rest on dirt, not so much on turf. I think the Voodoo Song gets in Man of Wiregrass's way. If Voodoo Song wasn't in here, I'd try to wire with Man of Wiregrass. The speed may help set it up for the closers in Vintage Matters and Clutch Cargo, Frank.
Voodoo Song was very rank early last time out and then finally settled down after he took off. I just wonder what he can do 4 days later going longer.
We'll see how the speed develops. We'll see what Maggie's seeing as we head out to the paddock.
It's called striking when the iron is hot, and that is exactly what Linda Rice is trying to do here with number 8. That is Voodoo Song, who comes off of the best performance that we've seen from him in his career. Now, I had noted that going into that race last time, she had taken most of the equipment off. He was a horse that had run in blinkers and a kind of extreme bit in the past because he's been ranked. Now, she just had a snaffle, a loose ring snaffle on him last time. Now, as he was a little rank in the early stages of that effort just 4 days ago, the ring bit is on. So that gives the rider a little bit more control than that regular snaffle. Now, as far as physicality, you look at horses, well, have they dropped too much weight? Are they nervous? No, none of that here with Voodoo Song. He looks much the same as he did 4 days ago. So I think Linda's just recognizing that this horse is in great form and trying to get a win in this other than condition out of the way. The biggest problem I have with him is the distance. I'm not sure if he's that true around 3/8 horse, where as the lone gray here in the field that is Vintage Matters, he certainly is. I mean, you look at him, he's just very long, lanky, kind of more of a European type of build to him, with his European trainer and Michael Dickinson as well. And this year, strangely, is actually looking at him physically, I think he looks better than ever, better than I've seen him in the past. I know he's a 5-year-old with limited number of starts, but I just feel as though he might be doing the best that we've seen, though those front bandages are on for the second time here in 2017. We are trying to get saddles on horses here, Greg. Number 5, that is Prophet's Cat, giving his handlers a little bit of a hard time here as he's with the pony, but soon we'll have him tacked up for you, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thanks. He should be an old pro at this by now. It's a 6-year-old who they're having some issues with. We'll have our post parade for the start of the late pick 4 coming up. We have a Mad Genius sighting at Saratoga. Michael Dickinson sends out the morning line favorite. Will Vintage Matters prove best at 1 3/8?
Grade 1 winner Lee traveled the world competing against the best of his generation. A graded stakes winner on both dirt and turf, he set a new track record in the Grade 1 Don Handicap. and retired with earnings of more than $2.3 million. With his much-anticipated first foals hitting the ground this year, the sky is the limit for this promising young stallion. Lee at Claiborne Farm.
Make NyraBets your home for online horse racing and betting. Use NyraBets to bet on live horse racing from around the world. Bet from anywhere, anytime using your computer or mobile device. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up at NyraBets.com and start earning your sign-up bonus today. NyraBets, racing's best play. Use promo code PICK5 to get a $200 new member sign-up bonus on NyraBets.com.
You're watching Saratoga Live on Fox Sports 2 and MSG Plus and other regional networks across the country. Thanks, everyone, for being with us as we get underway here in week 2 of this Saratoga meeting. The late pick 4 is coming up. Just a few minutes to post, and 8-5 favoritism on a horse who ran just 4 days ago on opening day for Linda Rice. Took the blinkers off on that occasion, and pace-wise, interesting, Paul. Got to the front in that race, went gate to wire, and you think those are the tactics again today?
Well, I would think so. I think you got to go towards the front end just like you did last time. And I would think that he's going to be very keen considering the short rest. The worry is the 6 in here.
Exactly. There is going to be other pace in here, and sometimes we just see horses who are so dominant in a field, they naturally show speed. And I think that was the case with Voodoo Song last time out. I mean, it was the first time that he actually got a class relief. So today it is a little bit of a tougher field, but we'll just see if Linda Rice has him as sharp as she had him last time out. But like you said, probably so, as he's coming off short rest.
Yeah.
Post parade coming up here momentarily. That is a lot of attention on Voodoo Song here at 8-5. Want to remind everybody the Saratoga Showdown. It's a free online game. It continues today. It allows fans to play against each other and win prizes, including a chance to win a 2018 Belmont Stakes prize package worth $2,000. Today's game, win, play, show. Prize is offered to the highest mythical bankroll after each race, and also at the end of the day. We'll cover all the Saratoga Showdown races in the show this afternoon. You can go to SaratogaShowdown.com or to NyraBets.com to put your selections in.
Do we still see Greg Wolf's name on the leader page?
I can figure out how
You
to
did
get back
well
in.
the first day.
I did it. Yeah, I finished 3rd.
Yeah. Andy and I did really well the second day. But I actually think we kind of tanked in the last race.
Every
But
day?
it's fun. It's so easy to be a part of.
Yeah, and it's if you're new to the game and you haven't played a lot, it's a great introduction to get started in the game, and you can win prizes, and you maybe be at the Belmont Stakes next year.
Today's win, place, and show. They do exactas on one day. Go to Naira.com for the details. Simple.
All right, so you still got some time to get in. You still got some time to get in this late pick 4 pool as well, which looks like it could be very intriguing. You heard all our analysts going in different directions, so that means it's wide open. We start our post parade with light rain, big long shot here for trainer Patrick Kelly.
And don't forget about Louis Reyes, who brought in a $231 winner yesterday, 23-1 today.
Now it's for D. Wayne Lucas. Clutch Cargo, the 2, Jose Ortiz for Phil Serpy.
First time trained by Phil Serpy, and looks like should be making that late move from off of the pace.
Michael Dickinson trains Vintage Matters. John Velasquez aboard.
The son of Tappet. Michael trained him as well. Fame of the great DeHaas. This one will be rolling late, 2-1, currently off a 9-5 morning line.
Sandy strikes a big price here on the first time gelding trained by Kelly Breen. Rides Paco Lopez in the irons.
First time gelding as well. Gets back to the turf. Will have to improve off of his previous turf effort.
Dylan Davis rides the 5 Profits Cat for Gary Siaka.
The son of Utopia is 3 for 50 lifetime, but the worry, 0 for 26 over the turf course.
3 Diamonds Farm sends out Man of Wiregrass, trained by Mike Maker with Kendrick Carmouche.
Second off, a pretty lengthy layoff, stretching out from 7/8 last time out. Figures to be the speed of the speed.
We'll see if Superhawk comes rolling late. He is a dead closer, trained by Chris Engelhart with Manny Franco.
1 for 15 lifetime, the lone win over in synthetic racetracks. This will be his 3rd turf try.
And the favorite for Barry Schwartz, Jose Lizcano aboard Voodoo Song for Linda Rice, who won here just 4 days ago.
Extremely impressive last time out, but let's see if he can repeat it off of a very short freshening.
With more on this 7th race to kick off our late pick 4, let's check in with Maggie.
No, and unfortunately, we're going to be constantly remembered that Mike Hushin, well, he is retired from training, as we see several of his horses making their starts for their new trainers. And number 2 in here, Clutch Cargo, will make his first start for trainer Phil Serpy. Now, I really liked this horse actually last time, getting back to the dirt. I thought he looked fantastic. Well, things didn't work out. He's back on the turf here, and maybe this kind of long distance of 1 3/8 is what he's been asking for the entire time. He certainly looks like it. He's one of those very kind of ropey, elongated type of framed horses. He looks great, as he did last time. So I think it's an interesting move for him in this spot here. Now, I know Greg, is going to be very disappointed. There's no Mad Genius sightings in the paddock for number 3, Vintage Matters. But like I said, I just feel Vintage Matters is the most well-meant horse for this spot here. But I want to hear who Andy and Frank like. They are the Mad Geniuses of this show.
I hope so. I know we're mad, angry, crazy, all those things. Frank, it's pace. It's a question of what the 6 and 8 are doing up front and how it sets up for Vintage Matters. How do you feel in general about closing horses getting more distance, especially in the turf, 1 1/8 to 1 3/8? To me, it can be a sucker bet, though I picked Vintage Matters, but he's got to stretch his speed out.
I think what he has to do is he has to make the move earlier. Last time he was well back behind Black Tide, who was loose on the lead, and he just rallied belatedly, but he looked like a horse that simply was given a race to freshen him up. He's had many breaks in his career. That's obviously the concern. You're talking about a 5-year-old son of Tappet who's 1 for 7. But this is a race where I believe Johnny V will make an early move down the backstretch and try to get into it. I don't think he can wait to the stretch. If he does, I don't think he'll win. If he waits too long, he will not win.
Well, his only 1 3/8 race was actually against some tough horses. I mean, Manitoulin, deeply undervalued, won a stake in a subsequent start down in Maryland, and he wasn't that far off the pace. I think that's a very interesting point about him. He didn't run that well. He didn't run that badly. One thing to be fair about him, and he has had gaps, you're absolutely right, but he's been scratched at least once at Belmont because race was rained off the turf. So there was a lot of rain at Belmont. He's the logical closer. Now, Clutch Cargo, the 2, is the other closer. I think it's interesting. Maggie talked about the change. Mike Hushin retired closing day at Belmont, which was just about 11 days ago, 10 days ago. So while he's taking the train to Phil Serpy, who does a terrific job, he has been in Mike Hushin's barn until recently. Do you take that into account when you look at trainer changes, a horse who is just new to a barn?
Well, in this circumstance, I think you've got 2 trainers whose percentages were almost identical, and both are very well-respected horsemen. So on one hand, I think that we're fine with this horse going in with Michael Hushin's immediate training. I don't think that there's going to be a dramatic form reversal. I think his best will put him in the thick of things.
Yeah, you know, he's not good enough on his figures. And one thing I'll say about his race 2 back, his last turf race, it was a weaker field, but it was a race that was very friendly to horses with speed, and he did close much better than anybody else in there. Now, as we go towards the outside, I think we're going to take a look at the 8 next or the 6 next. 6 next, Man of Wiregrass. I was hoping that Voodoo Song would scratch, and Man of Wiregrass would be 3rd choice in here. I love Mike Maker stretching out horses that look to be distance challenged. He's as good as there is with these long-distance turf races, Frank.
I definitely respect Mike Maker, but I think you are saving a lot of money as a result of Voodoo Song being in this race, because I don't think there was a scenario where Man of Wiregrass was going to be able to win this race. Because
I think you're wrong. I think you're dead wrong.
I know. We'll never know, though, unless there's a scratch
Well,
at
I
the
think
gate,
there's a scenario where he wins today. I mean, he's got Kendrick Carmouche, who is a very aggressive rider, and I have trouble seeing he and Jose Lizcano hooking up in a massive duel. So I won't be surprised when he's controlling the pace, and you have to be very careful. Mike Maker knew this was 1 3/8, and he knew this horse's PPs, and sometimes you just have to respect a trainer as solid as Mike Maker.
The late Mike Mitchell had a very similar quality with horses that he claimed in long turf races. I have the utmost respect for Michael Maker. I think his horse is completely overmatched here.
I completely disagree.
Perfect.
I don't know who the killers are in this field. If Voodoo Song runs back to his last race, the problem is, I don't mind the short rest. It's a vote of confidence by Linda Rice. I think when a good trainer does that, it's okay. The problem is he's got to hook up with Man of Wiregrass, and it just feels as though this is a tougher spot and a very odd spot. But Linda Rice has confidence.
This horse was hammered last time and ran accordingly. Early on, I thought this horse had absolutely no chance going into the first turn, but he was able to clear and then calm down a little bit, and he finished up full of run. He's happy. He feels well. He's got a big test ahead of him today. I think 8-5 is a very short number on this horse. I firmly expected that Vintage Matters would be even lower than his 9-5 morning line odds, just based upon the fact that he's classy, he's honest, he's consistent, top connections. But you cannot fault the fans for going to Linda Rice because she continues to amaze, and she has done well. It's documented with these ridiculously short rests. I never see this 4 days.
Voodoo Song was actually a day-new horse. I mean, he went from 9-2, 5-2 when after the gate popped. All the late money came in on him, guys. They were right. Will they be right again, Greg?
Well, we're about to find out in here. I think a lot of people felt, and the board sort of reflects it, that it's a two-horse race in here. I thought it was more wide open than that.
So did I. I mean, when I first looked at the race, you do point yourself towards the 3, or the form does, but I thought Andy made a great point with Man of Wiregrass. This is what Michael Maker does. He's the kind of guy that finds a horse that he thinks is somewhat of a grinder, and I thought the last race, he hung around pretty well, and I think he's got a decent shot. And when it comes to the 2, that race 2 back, I can't believe I'm complimenting Andy again, but I thought this was another good backtrack to look at, because I thought it was the first time he actually made up some ground, the 2, and I think he actually finished a race, and I think that's going to help him out the 3/8.
Well, that's kind of been an issue for him for a couple of starts, right? We always like to see closers getting added ground, but sometimes horses just are a little bit one-paced, and that's what I saw from plenty of this horse's performances, but we'll see if the pace kind of collapses in front of him. I do think that Man of Wiregrass might be the speed of the speed in here for Kendrick Carmouche, and for me, this with Mike Maker, this kind of looks like a plan, right? He brought him back off of an August layoff of last year, put him in for 7/8, got a good bottom underneath of him. Okay performance, but this is probably the spot that they wanted to run of him, stretch him out in distance, try to soften things up on the front end. I'm just curious to see Voodoo Song and his antics in the first half of the race today, because if he's as rank or keen as he was last time out, I don't think he can sustain his speed.
I have to agree with her on that, because going the mile and 3/8, the way he acted early, he cannot act that way. This is a better field today. The 6 will keep him company, and again, I think the 2 sits that Garden Trip.
Yeah, it was pretty remarkable that Voodoo Song was able to win that race, considering how uncomfortable he looked early on in the running of that race back on July 22nd. Here is Prophet's Cat, set to step in line. 7-5 favoritism to Voodoo Song here for trainer Linda Rice. Let's send it upstairs to the start of this late pick 4. And the voice of the Triple Crown, Larry Colmus, for the call here, race 7 from Saratoga.
Clutch Cargo has moved into the starting gate. Here's Man of Wiregrass and Vintage Matters, who's at 8-5 right now, the second choice in the betting. As Sandy Strikes goes in, Super Hawk comes forward, and Voodoo Song will be the last one. Just took a notch down to 6-5, did Voodoo Song, with Vintage Matters going up to 9-5 on the board. Voodoo Song is in. They're all in line. We're ready for a start. They're off. It was a good beginning for Light Rain. There goes Voodoo Song on the far outside in company with Man of Wiregrass. And these two will make the pace. And there goes Voodoo Song to take the lead and sprint off to lead by 3. Man of Wiregrass is in second position early on. Prophet's Cat is third. Light Rain broke well, but is fourth now, and a good 8 lengths off the lead as Voodoo Song just wings it up front. It's opened up 6 here in the early stages of this mile and 3/8 race. And then it's Vintage Matters on the outside, who's racing 10 lengths from the front right now, followed by Sandy Strikes on the outside of Super Hawk and Clutch Cargo. So the opening quarter mile was 23.58 seconds for this free-running, front-running favorite. Voodoo Song passes the finish line. He's got a lap to go. He's 12 lengths out in front. And now you can make it 15. Voodoo Song is just all alone. Let's see how far he can go here. Oh, that half was 46.14, so a 22 and change second quarter for Voodoo Song, who heads on to the backstretch while the rest of the field's on the clubhouse turn. Man of Wiregrass is second. It's a good 12 lengths behind at least. Then Prophet's Cat in third, followed by Vintage Matters on the outside. And then it's back to Super Hawk and Light Rain down toward the rail. And at the back of the pack, Sandy Strikes and Clutch Cargo. 3/4, 111.10 seconds, so it's slowed down a little bit and the margin has decreased. Voodoo Song's lead is down to 7.5 lengths up the backstretch. Man of Wiregrass is running in second. Prophet's Cat is third on the inside of Vintage Matters, and they've cut the gap to about 5 as they race for the far turn. Then Super Hawk, Light Rain, followed by Clutch Cargo. Around the far turn, Voodoo Song the leader. Voodoo Song's lead still a 6-length bulge. And then comes Vintage Matters on the outside in second, followed by Man of Wiregrass, Prophet's Cat in the end of the stretch, and it is Voodoo Song and Jose Lescano, and they come to the 8th pole, 4 lengths ahead of Vintage Matters. And then it's Prophet's Cat on the outside and Man of Wiregrass. Voodoo Song by 3. Vintage Matters trying to cut into the gap late. He's closing, but the wire's coming up soon. Voodoo Song, Vintage Matters running out of time. Voodoo Song holds on by 3/4 of a length over Vintage Matters. Then a photo between Super Hawk and Prophet's Cat. The final time was 2 minutes 13.60 seconds.
Well, Voodoo Song, some testing fractions early, but absolutely all by himself and able to hang on and get the win here.
Yeah, Larry Coleman's calling the second fraction to 46, about 22, and he decided, I'm going to go on with it here, and I think Jose Lescano had no choice and got the job done.
Larry was running out of fingers and toes to count on in the first half of the race. He was opening up by 15, 16 lengths, but I will say there was absolutely no excuse for Vintage Matters. We could see him swap to the wrong lead coming down the stretch. He just did not have any will to win today.
And the public had it dead right. I mean, they kept hammering this horse, and boom, right before they hit the window, 4-5.
On Andy Kendrick Carmouche on Man of Wiregrass, that was the other speed. He was just content to let Voodoo Song get out there by himself.
I think he had to ride his horses, though Voodoo Song wasn't in the race, and hoped he came back, and then he'd have enough to go. But I agree with everything that both Gabby and Paul said on the roof. Paul's right. The public just, I mean, they were running to the window like they knew the race had been run, Frank, and Gabby's right. Vintage Matters had absolutely no excuse, plenty of chance to catch him. I love it. I mean, I didn't like this horse particularly today, but I love it when they let him open up in the front end.
And good for him for holding on Voodoo Song. 4 days later, this is just a phenomenal performance. He loves the turf. He's undefeated. That's a brutal price to take, but if you did, you get your 80 or 90% here. And Gabby could not have put it any better about it. That's who Vintage Matters is. He's just going to give you what he has, and it just wasn't enough to beat a good, sharp horse like Voodoo Song today.
Yeah, this was they're looking at another horse. That's the 4-horse. The jockey coming back to not know the story there. Perhaps the guys on the roof have a better look at it.
Well, yeah, there was some issue with Sandy Strikes. We had heard Paco Lopez was off the 5-year-old gelding, son of Safe Florida Sandy. There he is.
Now, you'd pulled him out of the race a little bit early. Now, obviously, we don't want to. The equine health is utmost important here at NYRA, so they are going to take a look at him, make sure everything is okay. Looks like he's walking okay, though.
Yeah. I would say it's good to see they did remove the saddle. He was walking on the turf course, so, and we also saw Paco Lopez with the saddle in his hands walking off the turf course, so it appears hopefully that everything's okay.
And meanwhile, you know, back to Vintage Matters, you can't really fault him. When you get a horse absolute in another zip code of everybody else on the front end, that gets to be hard to run down.
And, you know, I think Andy was right, too, about the 6, because I was talking to Gabby in the middle of the race. I said the same thing. I go, if I'm Kendrick Carmouche, I ride the race as if I'm in front and hope Voodoo Song comes back. Voodoo Song was just not having any of it.
Well, the public was all over this one. Voodoo Song, 2 wins already early on in this Saratoga meeting. Wins at 4-5. We're going to take a break. Still ahead, Saturday's Jim Dandy, a dream matchup. The Derby winner gets another shot at the horse who ended his Triple Crown dream. We'll preview the rematch on Saturday when we come back. Change the way you watch racing forever with the new NYRA Now app. Live racing in English or Spanish. From a variety of camera angles, race replays, talking horses, race analysis, and a multitude of on-demand content, all in high definition. NYRA Now is available on many platforms, including iOS, Android, Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and more coming soon. Download NYRA Now today, free in the App Store, and start watching the best racing like never before.
Well, I think it's great for the fans, first of all. A real treat for everyone that's going to come out to Saratoga to watch the race. And I think it's a testament to both horses.
Witnessing both the Kentucky Derby and Preakness winners on the same stage.
You're watching Saratoga Live, the Naira Bets Late Pick 5. It has been an incredible value. It's exclusively available for Naira Bets customers, New York on-track bettors, and those wagering with the New York simulcasting facility. So the only way to play this Naira Bets Late Pick 5, if you don't reside in the state of New York, is to get signed up and started with Naira Bets, which you can do so all across the country. Voodoo Song wins for the second time at this meet in just a span of 4 days. Linda Rice has a good one here, standing by with a winning trainer. Let's go downstairs to Maggie.
Well, she just got off the phone with owner Barry Schwartz, picking up second win in 4 days. And Voodoo Song, Linda, was it just a matter of you feeling though this horse is just doing very well?
You know, a combination of things. You know, he ran very well last Saturday, and frankly, it was a rare condition to get a New York bred other than going a mile and 3/8 on the turf. And I thought, well, let's throw him in there and take a look at the race, because there's just not that many horses that can get that distance. And an English Channel, those horses typically can handle that far.
Well, but given his disposition, he does like to be kind of into the bridle and will give the rider a bit of a difficulty as far as controlling him. What made you think that he'd be able to carry that speed, though?
Well, I took the blinkers off of him in the race last Saturday, and I thought, you know, he'd been sprinting on the dirt, and I thought if we're going to run long on the turf, he's kind of rank and hard to handle. Let's take all the equipment off of him and see if he'll relax on the front end, which he did very nicely. I was a little nervous with the first fraction, the first half a mile. He looked like he was giving Jose a hard time, but he managed to get him home. And Jose is a terrific turf rider.
He is. He just put his hands down and let him roll. And a bit of a family affair today. You have somebody special with you, Mom?
Yes, my mom's here with me today, so that makes it a great win.
Lovely to get your picture taken with Mom. Linda, congratulations.
Thank you.
And guys, just a quick update on number 4 in here. That was Sandy Strikes. He did get a ride home in the ambulance, but just didn't look as though he handled the turf. Didn't look to be anything serious. Under his own power, he was loaded up and taken home. Greg?
All right, Maggie, thank you for the update. Not bad already. Voodoo Song with 2 wins at the meet. Linda Rice likes what she sees with Voodoo Song. Opened up by a country mile, all alone on the lead and able to hang on for victory here at a short price to start off this late pick 4, owned by Barry Schwartz. Jose Lezcano aboard for the winning ride here with Voodoo Song, the son of English Channel, getting the job done here on the turf. Saturday, we got a big one coming up. It is the Jim Dandy, the Kentucky Derby winner, Always Dreaming, against the horse who ended his Triple Crown bid, Cloud Computing, your Preakness winner, Gabby.
Absolutely. Well, in the beginning of the year, the 3-year-old picture was a little bit puzzling, actually, as we saw that reflected in the Triple Crown, a separate winner taking each leg of the Triple Crown series. But coming up on Saturday, well, lucky for us, we get to see 2 of those 3 classic winners battling it out in this weekend's Jim Dandy.
Well, I think it's great for the fans, first of all. A real treat for everyone that's going to come out to Saratoga to watch the race. And I think it's a testament to both horses.
Witnessing both the Kentucky Derby and Preakness winners on the same stage at Saratoga is rare. But that's exactly what we'll get this Saturday in the Grade 2 Jim Dandy.
It's good for the fans. It's good for everybody here to enjoy, to see the best 3-year-old in the country to compare each other.
Always Dreaming dazzled in the Derby.
Comes true. Always Dreaming has won the Kentucky Derby.
As impressive as Always Dreaming was in the Derby, the same horse didn't show up in Baltimore for the Preakness.
I knew that in the backstretch, you know, like I was telling Todd after the race, like I know in the backstretch when Julian's horse got to me and right before the 5-8 bullet and he didn't put it fight, I was worried then. By the half of my pull, 3-8 pull, I knew it. I didn't have the same horse.
Always Dreaming didn't put up a fight, while Cloud Computing came out swinging.
To the finish together, noses apart. Cloud Computing has defeated Classic Empire in the Preakness.
It was an unbelievable experience for me and my whole team, the owners, everyone involved. You know, a real special moment. And you know, once you get a taste of that Triple Crown and you have some success in it, it drives you to want to do it again. And you know, thankfully we've gained a lot of experience too.
It was an amazing race. The way it performed my horse and the way everything developed, it was a perfect trip.
Saturday's Jim Dandy will be the first time the 2 classic winners face off since the Preakness.
It's always a delicate balance when you're trying to freshen a horse up and have them ready for a race like the Jim Dandy. You know, you have to be fit and prepared for it, but you also want to hopefully have something to build on and something, you know, left in the tank for the Travers. So, you know, I think we've been able to accomplish that in the time off that we've had since the Preakness.
Yeah, he's a good breeze horse in the morning, and that hasn't changed since the Preakness. He continues to train very well. He looks like he's coming into this race in really good shape. I'm optimistic he's going to run really good. But more than that, I'm hoping that he uses this race to run even better in the Travers. That's the hope anyway.
Well, it's the 2 trainers who won all 3 legs of the Triple Crown as well. Not just the 2 big horses, Gabby, but really the 2 of the best trainers in the entire game as well, going head-to-head.
Absolutely. Todd Pletcher getting another Derby win and Chad getting his first Classic win. And you know what? This weekend in the Jim Dandy, it's going to be a historical event because we have never seen both the Derby and the Preakness winner battle it out in the Jim Dandy. So, you know, we have a couple of contentious field in Sunday's Haskell, but the Jim Dandy, although a small field, is going to be a historical one.
And Paul, both these 2 appear to be training great coming up to this Saturday race.
Well, both different approaches. I don't know how you want to take it either way. Now, Always Dreaming's only had 4 works and started back a little bit later since the Preakness. Cloud Computing has had 6 works. But again, Cloud Computing did not run in the first Saturday in May. And when you listen to both trainers, they're both telling you, or our target goal is the Travers, but I'll bet you right now their target goal is still wanting to win the Jim Dandy before they get to the Travers.
What makes it even more interesting is Always Dreaming draws the rail, Cloud Computing and the 2 holes, so Always Dreaming you'd have to think must go from the rail. It's going to be a rider's race.
Historic event. First time ever the Derby winner has gone against the Preakness winner in the Jim Dandy. We're going to have it for you this Saturday. You can see it from 5 to 6:30 on most networks. MSG Plus will be kicking off our show at 4 Eastern Time. Coming up next, named after the Iron Horse himself, Garrick, out to prove his durability in a tough turf sprint ahead at 5.5 furlongs, the 8th from Saratoga, when we come back.
Claiborne Farm is proud to offer the regally bred Orb. The son of Malibu Moon compiled a 5-race winning streak that included the Fountain of Youth and Florida Derby. In the Kentucky Derby, he defeated rivals Will Take Charge, Oxbow, Golden Sense, and Palace Malice. Now the millionaire racehorse is garnering big checks for breeders. In the auction ring, Orb is the #1 sire of his crop, with first yearlings selling up to $450,000. Now is the time to book your mare to Orb at Claiborne Farm.
And they're off. NyraBet's Pick 5 is now available exclusively online at NyraBets.com. Bet the NyraBet's Pick 5 every race day with a 15% takeout on the last 5 races on the card from the country's best racing at Belmont and Saratoga. Find it nationwide on NyraBets.com right in the Bet Type drop-down menu or at any Nyra track or New York OTB location. NyraBet's Pick 5, racing's best bet.
We are back on Saratoga Live. Coming up next, race 8 here, a difficult group here. 5.5 furlongs in a turf sprint in a New York bred entry-level allowance is the crowd taking in the beginning here of week 2 action at the summer place to be here at Saratoga. Both Irad Ortiz Jr. and his younger brother Jose will be represented on 2 of the top horses to beat here in this upcoming race. Both came here in 2011, 2012. It was not long before they made their presence felt not only in New York, but on a national scene.
I am Irad Ortiz.
Jose Ortiz.
We are professional jockeys. My brother and I always want to be a jockey, and we both started when I was 16. We started in the jockey school.
And Irad Ortiz Jr. let Summer Revolution roll, and Summer Revolution is pouring it on.
My favorite part of being a jockey is winning.
Sweetgrass and Jose Ortiz coming home strong and coming home a 6-length winner.
The best part of being a jockey is be around horses. I mean, that's my dream, and I love the sport.
When we were kids, we used to watch the Kentucky Derby all the time.
They're off in the Kentucky Derby.
My brother and I, we are both happy because we are the third pair of brothers that ride the Kentucky Derby, and we are very, very proud of that. We always like to watch replays and try to get better every day and correct some mistakes that we did in the days.
My brother and I enjoy being a jockey, but we also love play PlayStation at night.
The highlight of my career so far being win the Belmont Stakes.
And Creator, these two come down to the line together. And Irad Ortiz raised his whip in victory.
And the highlight of my career was winning this year Belmont.
And Jose Ortiz in the Belmont Stakes. His brother won it last year. He did it today. Jose Ortiz.
So who's the better jockey?
Well, it's a toss-up with these two. Who's the better? They have been sensational, both of them. Jose said in the Belmont this year, anything you can do, older brother, I can do better. When he won on Tappert, both breaking through with their first Triple Crown win in the Belmont each of the last 2 years. They've both been sensational and been very quick that they've made their impact here.
Well, we talked about this on the opening show that, you know, when you talk about these two kids, they're junkies. First of all, you need to eat and breathe horse racing. Whenever you're a professional athlete, first of all, your mind has to be in the right mindset, first of all, and you got to be ready mentally, Gabby, for the grind. And there's no grind. Listen, I played baseball for 17 years. It's not even close to the grind what these guys go through. So mentally, it's a different ballgame. So you got to breathe it a little bit, and both these kids do.
Exactly. You have to have all those attributes, Paul, and they definitely do have that. They're well prepared. Yes. They're professional, and they want to learn, and they just keep getting better and better.
That's the one thing I will get. Jose Ortiz, after that ride with Abel Tasman, he says, you know, I got to keep learning here and there. But he's getting so good, and they're going to get their mounts, and they're just going onward and upward. And I like how they're both humble. Both of them.
Oh, you're talking about that ride. He was on a lay down and punched down close to the rail by Mike Smith. He got a little lesson there from a Hall of Famer. Jose will be on Gehrig, the 8, in this race. His older brother will be on Animal Posse, the 10. Both have big chances to win this race as we look at the jockey standings, and this is the way it's been the last couple of years. Irad and Jose going back and forth atop the standings.
And you see the usuals that will start climbing. Javier will start getting hot here soon, and so will Johnny V. Those are going to start tightening up, and you know, the trainer standing, usual suspects up on top, but we've been seeing Danny Gargan's horses running off the screen, Linda's horses, and Horacio de Paz.
It is wide open right now because, honestly, we haven't seen the Chad Brown and the Todd Pletcher horses running as we have seen them in the past. There have been some superstars so far at the meet, like Lady Eli, like a Todd Firster or Juvenile we saw earlier in the meet. But, yeah, it's wide open. We've seen some horses that have been shipping in be pretty successful, too.
And how about the coach?
Huh? Yeah, D-Wayne Lucas, $232.
He's winning on the WA.
The other day, he's got a couple wins already. With more on the 8 in here, Gehrig, who Jose Ortiz will be aboard, and that's your current favorite. Let's go to Maggie.
Yeah, I think Jose might be able to one-up his brother here in this race, as Gehrig is your favorite, and he looks it in the flesh. I mean, this is his 3rd start off the layoff. He's so much stronger. He's carrying great muscle mass. I just really like what I'm seeing from him. Yes, this horse obviously has had some issues in his career, but it looks as though Bruce Levine has done a tremendous job in bringing him back. Those front bandages do stay on, but I think the form speaks for itself, and his physical well-being just looks tremendous here. Moving on to one that's trying the turf for the first time. That's number 5, Wicked Macho. Now, I am still under the impression that despite this horse's poor effort last time, that there's some ability there, and the fact that he ran so well first time out on a wet sealed track says to me he might like the turf. He looks it too. I mean, he has those slack pasterns. He has a very, very flat, turfy, quote-unquote, turfy hoof to him. And, you know, his margin of defeat last time, I think, was enhanced by the fact he was checked while he was tiring. Obviously, he wasn't going to finish any better, but I think the effort looks worse, possibly, on paper, and I want to give him another shot here. I think he's very intriguing at this 5.5 on the turf. Now, another one that I think the distance will be his friend is number 4, held at gunpoint here for Dave Canizzo. He should offer a little bit of value, but he has yet to go on 5.5. And he just looks like an out-and-out kind of sprinter to me. He's very short-coupled, very compact, and I think this distance might, we might see him improve even more off of that Stallion Series effort. But horses are making their way to the track, but we got to check in with Andy and Frank.
Thanks, Maggie. I'm very interested in the 10 Animal Posse, and I know that you like him too, as you put it, using one of your 2 horses. To me, Frank, he did not like 7 furlongs last time, and he's also too close to a hot pace that completely fell apart. I think he can get a much better, more comfortable trip rating in this race, switching to Irad Ortiz, and I like him turning back in the spot and think he has a very good chance to a solid price.
He gets a dream scenario. I know a lot of people are sometimes fearful of having a speed horse on the outside. I prefer to have my horse out in the clear with a horse that has tactical ability. I'm with you with Animal Posse.
Seems fortuitous that Uncle T-Bone would be making his next start when you came here. They carted this race this day knowing you'd be here. I love his versatility. He's shown that he can run well on the front end, and he's shown he can rate successfully. He's a player.
He beat a horse named Discretionary Mark, who will be 3 to 5 to graduate here, like his 2 siblings did on the turf.
And you'll be mad when he loses at 3 to 5 and Tammy nasty tests.
No, he'll be all right.
You think he can get it done?
He'll
Horses
get
are
it
on the
done by
track,
many.
guys. I think for this race, I think Gehrig is very vulnerable in this spot. He can win, but he got a super pace last time. Good setup last time. He can win, though.
Well, here comes our post parade. We're about to find out. Smarties Powell will kick things off. Kendrick Carmouche aboard and went gate to wire last start.
Yeah, he beat a far inferior field. Kendrick will have to try to go from the rail. He's not good enough to beat these.
One of two in the race for trainer Mark Casse. This is Alenzi. Julian Leperoux will be aboard.
Has to show he's proficient going the 5.5 furlongs. He may want more distance, but he might get real pace to run at.
Held at gunpoint is the 4, 9-2 for the David Canizzo runner with Ricardo Santana Jr.
A completely different horse since switching to the turf. Almost pulled off a shocking upset, and Ricardo Santana Jr. is doing here what he's done at Oaklawn for the last several seasons, and that's win races and get attention.
Here's Gary Barber's Wicked Macho, the other Mark Casse runner, turf debut with Javier Castellano.
Tries the turf, as Greg said, for the first time. Dan produced a turf winner, but it's really a dirt family. Does possess significant speed.
Long Shot River Knight, trained by Edmund Pringle and Winston K. rides.
8-year-old is also a horse that possesses early speed, and he has actually 6 second-place finishes in his career, but he faces an extremely tall order today.
Freud's Friend has some pace as well for Charlton Baker and Manny Franco aboard.
Ran better, it appears, last time. The one setting that wicked pace that fell apart. His last race was a good one, and I don't think he's without a chance.
Gehrig, the favorite, clicks down to 5-2 for trainer Bruce Levine and Jose Ortiz in the irons.
We know we have many fans who enjoy the pinstripes of NYY, the Iron Horse. Gehrig, I think, also overbet in this spot. I'm in with Andy, absolutely 5-2, too short for me.
Uncle T-Bone had a troubled trip, yet still won. He broke his maiden last start. He'll have Luis Saez aboard.
Uncle T-Bone did a double take when he saw Frank in the studio as he just went by us a few moments ago. He is a versatile, talented horse and could easily win right back off his maiden win.
And Carl Domino trains the 10 Animal Posse. Irad Ortiz Jr. rides.
He's been consistent. Last time out, there was a wicked pace. As Andy mentioned earlier, he was the beaten favorite. The horse who won was completely ignored and exploded late. I look for a big rebound this afternoon.
This will be his third start of the year for Animal Posse. Andy, how are you going to play this race?
I'm going to keep it pretty simple. I'm going to bet Animal Posse to win and make an exacta box 9-10. I think it's a playable race, a very interesting race, and you got to love races like this, Frank. You've got 3-1, 7-2, a 9-2, a couple of 5-1s. People are all over the place, and this is what's fun at Saratoga. You don't see as many heavy favorites.
That's absolutely correct, and I think I should leave this set because we are in complete agreement as to what this race is all about. This makes no sense whatsoever.
Even two clowns like us can be right at the same time. Doesn't happen often, but neither do lunar eclipses.
I don't think I like it when Andy and Frank agree. We'll see if they can disagree a little bit later on in the show, but right now, they're with each other on the horses they like. It's Military Appreciation Day, tribute to the active military members and veterans. They're on this Wednesday afternoon at Saratoga.
Undefeated in sprint competition, Eclipse champion Run Happy captured 3 Grade 1 victories and set blistering speed records at both Keeneland and Saratoga. In the Breeders' Cup Sprint, he dominated the world's fastest runners, going 6 furlongs in a record-breaking 108 and change. The only horse nominated for 3 Eclipse Awards, Run Happy was crowned champion male sprinter, all the while racing 100% drug-free. Champion, millionaire, record breaker, Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Make NyraBets your home for online horse racing and betting. Use NyraBets to bet on live horse racing from around the world. Bet from anywhere, anytime using your computer or mobile device. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up at NyraBets.com and start earning your sign-up bonus today. NyraBets, racing's best play. Use promo code PICK5 to get a $200 new member sign-up bonus on NyraBets.com.
Welcome to Saratoga Live. Good to have you with us on the beginning of Week 2 action at the summer place to be here at the premier meet in all the country. It's the Spa. Our feature on this Wednesday, the Grade 2 Honorable Miss, and some of the best in the division for the filly and mare sprinters. We'll have that coming up a little bit later on in race 9. Welcome to those watching on Altitude Network. Good to have you with us. Show presented by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well here on Military Appreciation Day on this Wednesday here in Saratoga. We're 3 minutes to post here in race 8 coming up. With more on this group, let's check in with Maggie Wolfendale.
And on the outside, we do see Animal Posse in here. 4-trainer Carl Domino. Now, he was the beaten favorite last time out at Belmont. I didn't like his look that he gave me pre-race in the paddock. He just looked as though he was kind of dull overall. While he was very much on his toes like he is today, just his weight and his coat wasn't where it should be. And today, he's a little bit more back to the good Animal Posse that we've seen in the past. Do I love him here? Do I trust him? No, not necessarily, but I can see why people would be drawn to him. Next, we'll check in with Charlie Baker's charge. That is number 7, Freud's Friend. I've liked this guy since he's come back from that layoff in April. I think he looks great overall, and this is the course that he broke his maiden on. I think at 13-1, he's one that we might be able to sneak in 2 exotics here. I wouldn't be surprised if he does outrun his odds. Andy, what are you thinking here as far as any long shots?
I agree with Maggie, actually. I think this horse can actually absolutely outrun his odds, but it depends how the pace is. And it's funny, trainer Dave Canizzo walked by us earlier, and he trains the 4 held at gunpoint, Frank, and he said, I'm going to tell the rider to send. Now, whether or not this horse is fast enough to keep up is another question. If he was a big price, I could see throwing him in. In my opinion, Frank, 9-2 is a big underlay. He was in a tough field in the Stallion Series last time, but none of those horses handled the turf. And the horse who beat him, Crawdaddy, who was able to beat Uncle T-Bone getting a fast pace in his maiden win, he had about 4 lengths of trouble in that race. So I think held at gunpoint, if he was second beaten 4 lengths or 5 lengths, might not look as seductive.
And Crawdaddy is undefeated. He's a talented horse, but you may be getting a little extra emphasis on him because of that, what you just mentioned. I don't like this horse in this particular spot. I don't think he needed to tell Ricardo to send. Ricardo loves to send everybody, and that's what makes him so successful.
I'm just not sure he has the speed to keep up at 5.5. I mean, Charlie Baker's horse, who Maggie was talking about, this horse is fast. It'll be interesting to see how these races play out. This is a really entertaining race.
And Gehrig looked outstanding, as Maggie mentioned, and he frightens me now because he had his ears up in the air.
Let's head back upstairs to the roof.
I thought Gehrig made a nice appearance as well. The 8-horse continues to be our favorite in here. And again, this will be the 3rd start off the bench for the 8-horse, which often could be their best.
Yeah, it often could be their best. I'm with them downstairs. I think the horse is being overplayed at 3-1. The lone win on the dirt, no turf wins. And I like the 7. I think the 7 is getting completely dismissed. The blinkers went on last time, and this gelding ran way better. You look back at that mile race when he had trouble, wasn't bad. So I don't think the distance is going to be an issue. I think he can rate.
Huge race last time out, overcoming that hot pace and still hanging in there relatively well. Paul, I watched a lot of replays out of this race, and to me, Uncle T-Bone was the most intriguing. I thought it was a great performance that he comes out of. Wicked Macho, a horse that Maggie likes, is very intriguing. This is a horse that Mark Casse said from the get-go was working just as good as Classic Empire, so he clearly has a lot of talent. Maybe today he'll get to it on the turf.
Let's send it upstairs. Race 8, intriguing here. The voice of New York Racing, Larry Colmus. Take it away.
And here comes Animal Posse up to the starting gate to complete the line here. Hesitates just a bit. 5-2 on Gehrig, the favorite. And they're all in line. We are ready for a start. They're off. And it's Marty's pal on the inside who comes out running alongside of Freud's Friend, and these two speed off from the others. River Knight will be 3rd early on. Uncle T-Bone is 4th. Gehrig is 5th in between horses. Animal Posse is there on the outside. Then it's held at gunpoint. And at the back of the packer, Wicked Macho and LNZ racing for the turn. Smarty's pal gets away to the lead here through a 24.97 quarter. Opens up the lead by 2. Freud's Friend is second as they race on the far turn. Then Uncle T-Bone, River Knight, Animal Posse going up there 3 wide. Garrick is held up behind them, 6 lengths off the lead. Wicked Macho moves up alongside of Held at Gunpoint. LNZ trails. It is Smarty's Pal wide off the turn and really drifting out to the center of the course is Smarty's Pal. Here comes Animal Posse through on the inside. Wicked Macho from the back of the pack has come alive too. Uncle T-Bone down toward the inside and Garrick is coming on into the final 16th here. Animal Posse, Wicked Macho. These two, Animal Posse, Wicked Macho. They're going to hit it together and it is, I believe, Animal Posse by a nose. Wicked Macho was right with him, and then Garrigan held at gunpoint in 102.84.
Dead tight finish, a photo in the 8th, and I'm with Larry Colmus. I thought Animal Posse just barely eked this out.
Yeah, he does. And watch the move right here. He has to go a little bit wider than he needs to, but he ducks inside of the horse that's floating out on the front end, the 1. Now watch the 5 here. Wicked Macho and Javier Castellano. Looks like he takes a bad step here, deep in stretch. Like, looks like he's going to go by. I can't tell if he's getting tired, but like right here, he's going to take a weird step, and he just can't get there.
It did, right there. He took a very bad step, but he recovered pretty quickly. But you have to imagine that made it cost him the win, as it was a very, very narrow defeat there.
Well, photo finish, guys, downstairs, and Wicked Macho. Maggie talked about this horse. First time on the turf, the Dam. Tried the turf twice, never beat a single horse in either of those 2 races. Safe to say, I think Wicked Macho likes it a little bit better.
He did, but he got the better trip, I think, than the eventual winner, the 10, who had to move wide and move first. You know, a broken clock is right twice a day. Apparently 2 broken clocks were correct once today, Frank.
I don't know how we held off the pink silks of Gary Barber in the last 16th of a mile. That just looked like the ultimate mowdown. This horse got hammered down to 3-1. Animal Posse. That, you know, Irad Ortiz is just such a tremendous finisher. And that's what it's all about here. And I'll tell you what, both horses, you could take nothing away. They both ran well enough to win. I'm shocked we held on. I'm very pleased we did.
I am very pleased we held on as well. It was a terrific stretch battle. And Irad did what he had to do. He really couldn't do much with that outside post. He had to be forced wide. He made the first move. And, of course, the leader, Smarty Pals, drifted so badly, had to come inside that one. But, guys, it just seems like we have a lot of very close finishes.
That's what Saratoga is all about. Very contentious races. We had another one right here. Just about a nose separating these two, including a horse trying the grass for the first time. But in the end, it's Irad Ortiz Jr. getting the win, and his brother Jose winding up 3rd on Garrick.
Yeah, Animal Posse sort of wins like he won first time out, right by a nostril. Well, 43-1 on this day, but at 3-1, as you look at the horses coming back, there's a 7, Freud, who broke sharply but sort of bobbled a little bit and set the pace with the 1. But I'm with Andy. The 10 was the best. That bad step might have cost the 5, but the 10 had to go 4 or 5 wide.
And Animal Posse, his race off of the layoff for Carl Domino was incredible 2 starts back. And last time out, they stretched him out to 7/8, probably a little bit too far, but you'd have to imagine that set him up perfectly for the cutback today.
By a nose, Animal Posse takes the 8th here at Saratoga. Irad Ortiz Jr., Carl Domino, and Hayward Pressman, your winning connections. There is Paula's Silver Lining. Since she's moved to the Chad Brown Barn, back-to-back Grade 1 wins, both coming at 7 furlongs. She will shorten up to 6 furlongs this afternoon, although that has not been a problem for her in the past. 5 for 8 lifetime at 3/4 of a mile. Grade 2 honorable miss in the rematch with her former stablemate is coming up next. After a break, Always Dreaming, the Derby winner, and Cloud Computing, the Preakness winner, set for the showdown on Saturday.
And they're off. NyraBet's Pick 5 is now available exclusively online at NyraBets.com. Bet the NyraBet's Pick 5 every race day with a 15% takeout on the last 5 races on the card from the country's best racing at Belmont and Saratoga. Find it nationwide on NyraBets.com right in the Bet Type drop-down menu or at any Nyra track or New York OTB location. NyraBet's Pick 5, racing's best bet.
Selected sales, superior results. Success starts at Saratoga, the #1 ranked yearling sale in North America.
Eclipse Award winning Songbird was bought at Saratoga Pheasant Tipton. Where will you be this August?
Eclipse champion Stellar Wind is a Fasig-Tipton Saratoga grad. Where will you be this August?
The Fasig-Tipton Saratoga sale, August 7th and 8th. Where will you be?
Change the way you watch racing forever with the new Naira Now app. Live racing in English or Spanish from a variety of camera angles, race replays, talking horses, race analysis, and a multitude of on-demand content, all in high definition. Naira Now is available on many platforms, including iOS, Android, Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and more coming soon. Download Naira Now today, free in the App Store, and start watching the best racing like never before. We're back on Saratoga Live on Fox Sports 2. Good to be with you. Greg Wolf, Paul LaDuca, Gabby Gaudette here upstairs, member of the military on Military Appreciation Day, handing out the hardware to Barry, or I should say to Hayward Pressman and company, Carl Domino, the winning trainer, and Irad Ortiz Jr., your winning connections with Animal Posse. $8.70 for the win in a hard-fought victory over Wicked Macho. Photo finish here in the 8th. Let's send it downstairs to Maggie with the winning trainer.
Here, Carl Domino, who brings Animal Posse third off a layoff to the winner's circle here at the spot. And Carl, you had to be fairly pleased about the cutback from 7 to the 5.5.
Yeah, I think it was important for him because the when we did go to the 7/8s, we actually got caught up in a big speed duel. It was nice enough that the Mr. Pressman gave me enough time afterwards to get him to this point. And he came up to it in great shape. I haven't seen him like this in a long time. And a scary thing happened this morning. We're walking him, and of course he got loose. Shank, blanket, running everywhere. And luckily he just went to the next barn and we got him.
He wanted some grass. He wanted to see what it was like for dinner over there.
Yeah. I knew then we were going to win because that's...
and as long as you made it back to the barn, you would get him to the winner's circle.
In one piece.
Right. And Carl, you're a man of fine wine, fine taste, food. Where do we celebrate tonight out in Saratoga?
My favorite place is Mamma Mia's because he makes anything I ask him. He's a great chef.
There you go. What's your favorite?
I like the shrimp scampi. And he makes a artichoke franchise I really love. So I'll pick you up at about 7.
Perfect. Sounds lovely. Don't tell your wife. No, I'm kidding. I love Sophia. As long as she's coming, that's why I'll come.
She'll be there.
Okay, good. Congratulations, Carl.
Thank you.
All right, you guys heard it here. Mamma Mia's shrimp scampi. Gotta get it.
I assume we're invited too, right?
Yeah, why not? I'll sing Mamma Mia.
We'll just show up.
Maggie, don't go too far. I have a feeling that she's going to want to hear and have something to say about what we're going to show you next year. The New York Racing Association, of course, is taking the lead with its extensive Spanish language broadcast options. Luis Grandison providing race calls and pre-race analysis available on the Naira Now app, all in HD. Here's Have You Gone Away, winning last year's Honorable Miss.
Va pasando de viaje con José Ortiz. Por fuera está avanzando el ejemplar. Have You Going Away. Paula Silverlining manchó un cuerpo. How You Get Away. Viene avanzando Raudo por fuera. Paula Silverlining medio cuerpo. Have You Get Away. Viene avanzando por fuera. Paso de viaje. Have You Get Away con Kendrick Pamoya a Paula Silverlining.
Wow, what a moment that was as well. Trainer Tom Morley, his first graded stakes win, and it comes here at Saratoga, and she would go on to do even more great things here at the meet.
She really did, and I'm sure Maggie, that was one of her days where listen, when you own horses or you have a piece of a horse or any kind of interest in the horse, it's out of your control. It's a different ballgame than when you're behind the wheel or behind or sitting on a horse.
And not to mention, this was a pretty close finish.
Yeah, it was.
I can't imagine what she was going through, what Tom and Maggie were going through coming down the stretch, but it was really fun to be a part of that day.
She'd go on to win the Grade 1 Ballerina off this performance. It turned out to be one of the more difficult interviews for Maggie Wolfendale afterwards, talking to her husband after his first graded stakes win.
You know, it's kind of special. That was my first graded stakes winner here at Saratoga with a wonderful New York bred. I mean, you know, it's very special to win with a New York bred in one of these open graded stakes as well. So, and thank you to the Connections for giving me the chance of training her. So that was tremendous.
Where are you taking me to dinner tonight?
Wherever you want.
All right, I like that answer, Tom. Congratulations with Have You Gone Away.
Thanks, darling.
Well, Have You Gone Away, doing some traveling now in Japan and actually in full to two-time Horse of the Year, former Triple Crown champion in Japan, Deep Impact. I really want to know where Maggie wound up going to dinner that night, though.
I can't believe
there it is. Have You Gone Away?
I think she went to Hattie's.
Really? That's a pretty
like
strong choice. By the way, Have You Gone Away? Gain weight? She looks happy. Of course she is. She's pregnant mama.
Yeah, how about that? What a moment for your hubby. And we do want to know, where'd you wind up going to dinner that night? You had choice.
Gabby's got a great memory. We did end up at Hattie's. And no, I did not remember asking him that question because it's weird. I just asked Carl Domino the same question. But anyway, yeah, Have You Gone Away kind of took my place last year. I was the one in full, and now she's in full. And wow, what special memories she created for us. I get chills. I have chills right now. And I think you can still hear me screaming in Larry's call at the top of my lungs. Going, come on, Mama! So it was such a special Saratoga. We miss her dearly, and it's kind of ironic that both the horses she narrowly defeated in both the Honorable Miss and the Ballerina come back and meet here today for this year's rendition, guys.
Yeah, so it's going to be another great race coming up. What a moment, though, for Maggie and her husband to be able to share that together. This year, as we've talked about, former stablemates by the Moon, Paula Silverlining, going head-to-head. But I mean, you look at this entire field. I know it's not in terms of being the largest field ever, but top to bottom, we have just immense quality here.
Well, you really do. You have a horse in By the Moon that's got over $1.2 million in the bank. You have Paula Silverlining that has $1.7 million. Finley's Lucky Charm, you know, $400,000. But we really don't know what the ceiling is by this filly by Twirling Candy, Gabby. This horse is clicking off times at Churchill, but she's doing it in hand, 108 and change, 109 and change. She's just looking like a machine.
And look at this. Gabby opens up at even money. I would not have thought that. Finley's Lucky Charm coming in from Churchill.
These are the three horses to beat, in my opinion. You've got By the Moon, you've got Paula Silverlining, and Finley's Lucky Charm. Guys, if I were an owner or trainer, I would like any of them in my barn.
It's true. They have the common component, Constellation. Now, when you go back to the Madison, right, for Paula Silverlining, Constellation was by Paula Silverlining that day. I still can't believe that she showed the heart enough to come back. Finley's Lucky Charm, lone loss that you see in the last 6 or 7, to Constellation. This is going to be a very interesting race here coming up in about 20, 25 minutes.
She's moved to Chad Brown's barn. She's reeled off back-to-back Grade 1 wins after she was bought by Juddmonte Farms last fall. Her Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint winner could be coming out of this race. We'll be back right after this.
Make NyraBet NyraBets, your home for online horse racing and betting. Use NyraBets to bet on live horse racing from around the world. Bet from anywhere, anytime using your computer or mobile device. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up at NyraBets.com and start earning your sign-up bonus today. NyraBets, racing's best play. Use promo code PICK5 to get a $200 new member sign-up bonus on NyraBets.com.
Claiborne Farm presents Trap Shot. This graded stakes winner and multiple Grade 1 performer is now an emerging young sire. His top runners include Fish Trap Road, winner of the Grade 3 Dwyer Stakes, plus 2-year-old stakes winner Mirai, graded stakes place Quick Release, and Grade 1 performers My Man Sam and Wild Shot. Already ranked among the nation's leading sires of 2-year-old winners, Trap Shot has the speed, the class, and the pedigree to remain Tappett's top side. Trap Shot at Claiborne Farm.
I am a racehorse. I awake each morning ready to exercise. Some mornings I breeze and a time work. Most mornings I gallop or jog. Once I'm done exercising, I cool out for 30 minutes, making left-hand turns with a hot walker. Then my groom gives me my daily bath before I return to my stall to eat. I spend my afternoons grazing on alfalfa or on the lawn. I'm what you might call a fan favorite. Visitors stop by to say hi and feed me carrots. On race day, there is no morning meal. This is how I know that in a matter of hours, I'll head over to the paddock and size up the competition. My team will put on my bridle and saddle. The trainer will tell the owners how I've been doing before he tells the jockey how I like to be ridden. Then, a man will yell, "Riders up!" "Riders up!" and the jockey will climb on my back. I'll walk through the tunnel to the track as the bugler plays Call to Post. It is now time to put my game face on. I know that once I enter the starting gate, I'm seconds away from doing what I'm bred to do. That is run as fast as I can. The bell sounds, the gates open, the crowd roars, and I run. I run fast, and as I turn for home to the roar of the crowd all the way to the finish. And if I win, I'll head to the winner's circle to get my picture taken with my smiling team. Win or lose, I return home with my groom to my barn for dinner and to catch some Z's to rest up for tomorrow. I am a racehorse.
I can't Can't wait now for this grade 2 honorable miss. That is the life of a racehorse. Welcome to Saratoga. Week 2 underway on Military Appreciation Day. You can watch live racing from Saratoga. You can watch replays, expert analysis videos and workouts, and all on demand and in HD with a NYRA Now app. It's the ultimate app for horse racing fans. It's a free download and an absolute must for all the fantastic racing at Saratoga. Download the NYRA Now app today. Our feature race is coming up, the grade 2 honorable miss, and some of the very best in the filly and mare sprint division lined up to go at each other. By the Moon, the 2, the 3, Paula Silverlining, former stablemates. They know each other well. They met in the Breeders' Cup last year. And, of course, Finley's Lucky Charm, the new shooter, has won 6 of 7. Brett Calhoun says she's in fantastic form, but obviously said this is going to be the toughest test that she has had to deal with yet as we look at Rajiv Mirage, who will ride By the Moon for Michelle Nevin, getting set to do battle here.
You know, Rajiv has got the key to this horse's engine, right? Last 2 times, and the only 2 times he's rode this mare, she's won both times and won in nice fashion. I thought the Bed of Roses races was good. You know, her vagrancy was good as well when she beat Pretty Ain't Cool. And then Jose Ortiz, talking about cool, he'll be on the Chad Brown runner.
And I think, guys, that she's the horse to beat. I thought it was a brilliant performance in the Madison, although it was a gritty performance, something that we really haven't seen from her when she was trained by Michelle Nevin, but an even better performance in the Humana de Staff against the track. So really, I think today it depends on pace dynamics in here.
Every day, the Saratoga meet, NYRA Bet's offering a 10% winner's bonus on your trifecta bet on a selected stake. Today, hit the try on your mobile device in the honorable miss. Earn that 10% winner's bonus. See the full schedule and bet Saratoga Racing and over 200 other tracks nationwide at NYRABets.com. For more on the honorable miss, let's head downstairs to Maggie.
And we'll take a look at number 2 in here, By the Moon, who each time I see her this year, I swear she looks better and better here for trainer Michelle Nevin as a 5-year-old mare now. And the biggest question for her today to overcome is the distance. I feel as though there's a reason that Michelle Nevin has been apprehensive about running this filly at the shorter distance of 6 furlongs. We'll see how she negotiates it here today, but I don't see anything physically or in her disposition that should hold her back. I like By the Moon. I'm a big fan of hers, but let's check in with the new face, and that is number 5 in here, Finley's Lucky Charm for Brett Calhoun. She is just an athlete. She's beautiful. She's just a lovely, balanced individual. She is dappled head to toe, and let me tell you, since they've put the tack on her, she does what all good race mares or fillies do. They puff up. They say, oh, I know why I'm here, and they get their game face on. And talking to Carl Moore about the name of Finley's Lucky Charm, he said, I purchased her as a young horse, as a yearling, and she was so beautiful. I immediately thought of my granddaughter, so that is Finley, and this is Finley's Lucky Charm. Andy?
Well, I like Finley's Lucky Charm, too. I think she is the horse to beat, and the public has it right. She is the speed of this race, and Frank, 9 times in sprint race in her career. Her only loss was at 7 furlongs when she was involved in a very hot pace and lost to the very talented Constellation. To me, she is the controlling speed. Can she bring her game to New York?
That's the big question mark because she hasn't been here. But the good news about Finley's Lucky Charm is that she has done some traveling in her career. So she's done it at multiple tracks. I just think you have to send her right out of there. Brett Calhoun is a speed trainer. Don't get cute on the outside. Push the button right out of there and see if you can just run away from them.
Play Come and Catch Me. Now, Paula Silverlining, the 3, has won 2 Grade 1s this year and has to be sitting on top of the older filly and mare sprint division at this point. Even though this race for 7 furlongs, she has an incredible record at 6 furlongs, today's distance. 5 wins in 2 seconds and 8 starts with a top buyer of 107. Now, I doubt we see that. The question is, can she get a little faster? Her speed figure's a little on the light side for her 2 wins this year, despite them being big races.
She's just a winner, and winners win. She's won 10 of 20 starts. She was purchased privately away from the breeder, Vince Scuderi, so I'm sure he received quite a fat check for that situation because Paula Silverlining will join the broodmare band for Juddmonte, and she is very talented. She can make that move early. She'll come after the pace setter as soon as she's called upon. She's going to run her race.
I'm sure that Chad Brown and Jose Ortiz know just that, and it's true. Now, by the moon, Maggie brought up a great point about Michelle Nevin not running her at 6 furlongs. No, he's wanting to go a little farther. I'm not overly worried about it. You know, 6 furlongs, she's supposed to be able to handle it. She's been in great form this year, career form. The last time she did have everything her own way, and this is a tougher field.
She is very classy. She fires, and if ever a person would want to win this race more than ever, it's Michelle Nevin, because she has her old horse to fight against right next door.
I'd love to see Michelle do well. I like to see women do well in this game. They're such a big part of the game. And in my opinion, guys, Michelle Nevin is as good a trainer as there is in the game, and I'd love to see her do well in this race.
Well, she does have By the Moon in fantastic form right now. Back-to-back wins, both grade 3s. Obviously, this is a little bit deeper waters, but horses that this 5-year-old mare knows well and has faced before.
Yeah, and I like that last effort. If you look, Rajiv just sort of flagged her a little bit. He stayed away from the whip most of that stretch driving. He got her to switch leads on command, and she looks like she might be getting better and stronger at age 5.
She is. She's clearly heading in the right direction, but she did only beat Mia Tori Lightstream last time out. She's got 2 main foes here today in a pace scenario to overcome.
Never been off the board, as you see Rajiv Mirage just leaving the screen. He'll be on By the Moon. Never off the board here at Saratoga. As we get set for our post-parade coming up here for our feature race ahead.
Barbara Livingston, one of the best Clips Award-winning photographer, always out there. Got that great picture of Antono.
And Lady Eli.
Again. Lady
Both
Eli,
breaking through the gate. Yeah. Always on the scene, doing fantastic work. Here comes our post-parade for the Grade 2 Honorable Miss. It's brought to you by OCD Pellets, celebrating their 10th anniversary of supporting the equine industry with their 2-in-1 bone and joint supplement. Go to OCDpellets.com for more information. Here's Disco Chick. Yaroslav Kolibabiuk owns this one. Hector Caballero for Miguel Penaloza.
Jumpstart mare that does have a lot of pace from the rail, but it was off the pace last time. This is the only one I think can run early with Finley's Lucky Charm.
Michelle Nevin trains By the Moon for JMS Stable with Rajiv Mirage back aboard.
One of the best in this filly and mare sprint division, and surprisingly so, she's never gone this distance of 6 furlongs.
Paula Silver Lining, bought by Juddmonte Farms last fall. Jose Ortiz aboard for Chad Brown.
And tough as nails, multiple Grade 1 winner, and she likes a little bit of a fight. Juddmonte charge here.
Kieran McLaughlin trains Close Fall Off for Cheyenne Stables with Joel Rosario.
Kieran has given her a couple of months to freshen up, but is hoping for that pace to come back to her today.
And here is Finley's Lucky Charm. She's won 6 of her last 7 for Carl Moore. Brian Hernandez Jr. aboard for Brett Calhoun.
5 for 5 at this distance, and her game is speed, speed, and more speed. Look for Brian Hernandez to send from the outside slot.
Now, we know how quick she is, and Brett Calhoun was happy she was drawn outside because you do have Disco Chick Gabby down on the inside. Do you expect the one to fire away as well?
I think that they have no other option. They'll probably be quarter horsing out of the gate. But if they do decide to go with Finley's Lucky Charm, I don't think it's going to be a good result for them, because Finley Lucky Charm, she just has a high cruising speed, and she's just very naturally fast. So she's the horse to beat.
Everybody wants a good seat to see some of the best filly and mare sprinters in the entire country. It's the Grade 2 Honorable Miss, the feature from Saratoga, when we come back.
And they're off. NyraBet's Pick 5 is now available exclusively online at NyraBets.com. Bet the NyraBet's Pick 5 every race day with a 15% takeout on the last 5 races on the card from the country's best racing at Belmont and Saratoga. Find it nationwide on NyraBets.com, right in the Bet Type drop-down menu, or at any Nyra track or New York OTB location. NyraBet's Pick 5, racing's best bet.
Honorable Miss moving quickly on the extreme outside. Talc is next. There's a quarter of a mile to the finish. La Chisis on the rail has the lead by 1 length. On the outside, Chief Tamanaco. Here comes Honorable Miss, boldly moving to the leaders as they straighten away with 1/8 of a mile to the finish. On the far outside, Honorable Miss gets the lead. La Chisis is now second, Rushing Man third. It's Honorable Miss in front.
That was a 1976 Honorable Miss beating the boys in the fall high weight. Andy Serling, she was special.
I love this horse. I mean, to have a sprinter like her that came from way back and win and beat the boys. She won 2 straight fall high weights. That was the second. You know, Frank, it's interesting. When she won her first in 75, she was 14th, a half a mile into the race, and still won the race. I think she was favored that day. She beat a horse named No Bias, who had actually won at Belmont the day before on a Sunday. I think that day it was running on maybe Columbus Day. And No Bias had set a track record of 6.5 furlongs the day before. They scratched him out of the program because they couldn't believe he'd run back-to-back. The trainer said, I want to run him. And so he was in the field because we used to have mutual fields. And Honorable Miss just blew by him in the stretch. She was a tremendous horse trained by David Whiteley for Penny Bryn Farm. And it's great to have a race of this caliber named for a horse like her.
The fall highway is just such a special race. And to have a Distaffer take care of that is awesome.
Phillies have done well with them as well as we head out to Maggie.
And checking in with Paula Silverlining, who's your current second choice here in today's Honorable Miss. She'll look to rebound after a second place finish in last year's edition, but she goes out for different connections this time around. But to me, she looks like much the same Paula Silverlining. She's just one of those horses that carries her physicality with her from race to race, barn to barn, and she's just a good one. You know, she's like a loaded gun. She's going to go off in anybody's hands, and I like what I see from her, and I ultimately respect her. But going back to her old trainer's charge in here, that's number 2, By the Moon. Now, I spoke to trainer Michelle Nevin as we walked out of the paddock, and she alluded to the fact that she thinks By the Moon is just that much more of a sharp mare this year, and this is the shortest that she's going to compete over since breaking her maiden at 5.5. So Michelle said she feels as though By the Moon should be forwardly placed in here. Now, the big question is she as fast as Finley's Lucky Charm? I would say not quite, but we'll see what shakes out when they spring the latch, guys.
All right, Maggie, thanks. Fans enjoying the feature coming up here. We saw By the Moon, Andy. That's a look at Paula Silverlining. But By the Moon saw a little bit of lather on that neck. It's not really that warm a day. Is that a concern at all?
I don't know. I don't know what horses look like. I know they have 4 legs, a mane, and a tail. I stick to what I see in the PPs. How about clothes fall off? If you look at the other 2 horses, she seems to be the only one, Frank, that has a chance to upset. She does have one big fig going back, and I think the last time she ran at Saratoga, you had to go back 2 seasons to the Prioress. She finished 7th that day, but she got completely eliminated down on the inside. I just don't know if she's good enough, Frank.
I just don't either. I don't think she is, but she did defeat Paula Silverlining. We should at least give her credit where credit is due back in March of 2016. I will say this, Andy. I picked number 5, Finley's Lucky Charm in here. I believe the wrong horse is favored right now. I believe Paula Silverlining should be the favorite, and I think the smart money will come late on her. I don't think you could take even money, even though I picked her on this horse coming into a new environment against these top quality graded stakes.
She is the lone speed and does have strong speed figures. Now, Greg had mentioned some lather on By the Moon, but Maggie, you're the expert in how they look on the track, right?
Thanks, Andy. I'd like to think so, at least. She's always like that, to be honest. She always gets a bit warm. It's nothing out of character for By the Moon. This is just what she does, and it doesn't matter if it's 50 degrees or 90 degrees, that she's always going to kind of be this way. So I'm not looking for it to be a negative factor into her running today, Andy. I saved you on that one. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm so relieved, Maggie, to hear you say that. I've been fretting down here ever since Greg mentioned the lather on her. Now, getting back to what Frank was saying about the wrong favorite. You know, I'll tell you something. The betting is so smart in New York that I'm loath to say they're betting the wrong favorite. Now, I thought there's occasionally ones when they're sort of misidentifying horses. The problem is she has to bring her form to New York. I think that's the problem. If you are absolutely comfortable, and Brett Calhoun is a terrific trainer. His numbers in New York aren't good, and it's been a while since he's won. If you were comfortable, you'd say she'd probably win. But I agree. That's a big question mark.
I just think even money is ridiculous. And I picked her thinking I might get 3 to 1. I think Paula Silver Lining, she's won 10 of 20 starts. She's 2 for 2 this year, both in grade ones. She's run well at this track. She just missed in this race. She should be the one at even money right now, and you have to beat her to collect.
I think looking at the doubles and the pick threes, they're going to be much closer by post time. I'll be surprised, even though there's a minute to post, guys, and feel free, Paul, to disagree, if you don't see 6-5 and 7-5 by post time.
Well, we'll find out here. Getting close to loading up here as we get a look again at Paula Silver Lining again in a new barn for Chad Brown, but it does not look like she has missed a beat. In fact, she might be in the best form of her career.
She might be. And I think that Paula Silver Lining is a lot quicker earlier than you think. And Chad what makes Chad a great trainer, he's able to adjust a little bit. He's not setting this horse for anything else. She's already got her multiple grade ones. I think she's going to be a lot closer to Finley's Lucky Charm. Finley's Lucky Charm is freaky fast, but you know, Mirror Man makes a great point. Who has she been facing?
Exactly. And Paula Silver Lining, she's really not that slow. She's going to have Finley's Lucky Charm measured the entire way. And looking at Brett Calhoun, guys, he's a fantastic trainer. He wins really everywhere he goes. But, Paul, is it a little bit of a concern in the past couple of years? He's 1 for 22. The last time he ran a race was in 2013 in the Schuylerville.
A little bit concerning. Very.
Well, Brett Calhoun, he's got a good one. He knows it's going to be the toughest test yet for Finley's Lucky Charm. We'll see if she's up to the task. It's the grade 2, honorable miss. Let's go upstairs to Larry Colmus for the call.
And they're all in line, ready for the start. They're off in the honorable miss. Paula's Silver Lining broke very well. Finley's Lucky Charm on the far outside. Disco Chick joins them from the rail, then By the Moon and Clothes Fall Off. Up the backstretch they go. Finley's Lucky Charm on the outside, the leader. Disco Chick battles her from the rail, and after a good beginning, Paula's Silver Lining will sit third, 2 lengths off the pace setters. Then By the Moon, Clothes Fall Off is last, and 4.5 lengths off the lead after a 22.69 quarter. Racing for the far turn, Finley's Lucky Charm 3/4 of a length ahead of Disco Chick. Paula's Silver Lining ranging up on the outside, and now about to engage the front runner on the far turn. By the Moon is fourth and Clothes Fall Off. Finley's Lucky Charm on the outside, Paula's Silver Lining, and they arrive at the top of the stretch together. Disco Chick is dropped back. By the Moon is next, and Clothes Fall Off. They're into the stretch. Paula's Silver Lining on the outside, a narrow lead here from Finley's Lucky Charm. By the Moon is closing the gap on the outside. It is Paula's Silver Lining in front, coming down to the 16th pole. Finley's Lucky Charm battles on from the rail. By the Moon is next and third. Finley's Lucky Charm just keeps on battling inside of Paula's Silver Lining. Paula's Silver Lining beat her right on the wire. Finley's Lucky Charm was second, By the Moon was third, and Clothes Fall Off was fourth in 1 minute 10.10 seconds.
What a duel down the stretch, and Paula's Silver Lining just refused to be beat.
I thought it was a tiny bit of riding error by Brian Hernandez at first, because I really thought he should have opened up a little bit, because, listen, Paula's Silver Lining, when we talk about her, this is what she likes. She's almost like she's toying with the 5. I'm going to let you think you're going to win, but I'm going to beat you on the wire.
I actually think you're completely right in your assessment, because I almost wish that Brian Hernandez would have created a little bit more of a separation, right? Because, like you said, when Paula Silver Lining, when she matches another horse down the lane, she's going to go by you. She's got so much courage. So you never want to put yourself in that situation.
Exactly.
Whereas if he did create more of a separation, he would have never gotten into that situation.
And, you know, By the Moon basically never really looked like a winner. She loses the whole ball of wax by about a half a length to 3/4.
Well, some of the best, as we mentioned, in the division. We could see our Breeders' Cup Filly Mare Sprint winner come out of this race. There is a jubilant Chad Brown, seeing him smile after this performance here. Guys downstairs, Paula's Silver Lining has not missed a beat moving to his barn.
No, she hasn't missed a beat. She's been better than ever. I have to agree with both Gabby and Paul. Brian Hernandez blew it. He should have used her speed as a weapon. Instead, he allowed Paula's Silver Lining to be able to get right on top of her. I don't know that she would have won, but I don't think he gave her her best chance. But let's give the credit to Paula's Silver Lining, guys. She's been sensational this year. She's 3 for 3. And if she wins the Ballerina at Saratoga, I don't care what happens to the Breeders' Cup. She's the Filly and Mare Sprinter of the Year.
She was tremendous today. She looked outstanding warming up. And she went after the pace setter. The fact of the matter is, Finley's Lucky Charm had every chance to win.
She did.
I'm a big believer of using speed as a weapon, but Mr. Ortiz said, I'll be having none of that. If you watch this mare's career, Paula Silver Lining, she usually doesn't get asked that hard at the beginning. She did today because they knew they had to do that to win.
But it also could have been a faster pace. You know what? Regardless, you could talk about it as much as we want. This was a great horse race, and these are three exceptional horses basically hitting the wire together, and that's what Saratoga is all about.
Well, I would expect we're going to hear a lot more from all three of these top three finishers as this year continues, but Paula Silver Lining able to get the job done, and a lot like last year, Chad Brown winning the big ones at Saratoga. We'll be back. Stay tuned.
The world's #1 sire of 2-year-olds, Warfront, continues to command top prices with yearlings this year, bringing up to $1.9 million. On the track, Warfront has sired recent Grade 1 winner Avenge, Grade 1 victors Brave Anna, and graded stakes winning juveniles in France, England, and Ireland, Roly Poly, War Decree, and Intelligence Cross. A leading sire on all fronts, from Paris, Kentucky to Paris, France, Claiborne Farms, Warfront. Undefeated in sprint competition, Eclipse champion Run Happy captured 3 Grade 1 victories and set blistering speed records at both Keeneland and Saratoga. In the Breeders' Cup Sprint, he dominated the world's fastest runners, going 6 furlongs in a record-breaking 108 and change. The only horse nominated for 3 Eclipse awards, Run Happy was crowned champion male sprinter, all the while racing 100% drug-free. Champion, millionaire, record-breaker, Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on Saratoga Live, Paula's Silver Lining. What a 2017 it has been since moving to Chad Brown's barn. Back-to-back Grade 1s and now the Grade 2 honorable miss. She has been sensational, picks up her second win at Saratoga. Let's send it downstairs to Maggie.
Riding winners, greatest stakes winners, and holding babies here with Jose Ortiz as he has daughter Leilani here in arms. And first, we'll talk about Paula Silver Lining, Jose. She's a horse that you've ridden throughout her career. It seems as though she's better than ever at 5.
Yeah, I mean, she's doing great. She got 2 Grade 1s in Kentucky this year, and today she showed up that she keep in the same form. She's doing really well, and I love to ride her. She got a lot of heart.
I was just going to say, it seems as though if you engage her with another horse, she lays it all on the line.
Yeah, she just dug in. She put her ear back, and she just kept going. She never quit on me.
Think you're going to win the ballerina on her this year?
hopefully.
What does Leilani think? How is Leilani doing, by the way?
She's doing great. She just turned a mono, and she's perfect.
She is perfect. I think she might have jockey size on her mind at this point in time, but congratulations and beautiful baby.
Thank you.
Guys.
She's yawning in the winner's circle. She's used to Jose winning all these big races, right?
It's like a big deal.
No surprise.
Dad's always getting these trophies.
Run Happy, champion sprinter who set the track record at Keeneland when winning the Breeders' Cup Sprint. One of our sponsors of the show. Hope you're enjoying our Wednesday action here on week 2 of Saratoga. Impressive performance from Paula's Silver Lining. And, yeah, it doesn't matter. Maggie was right, I guess. Wherever this 5-year-old mare goes, she's not going to miss a beat.
Well, we talk about want when we have racehorses, and that's the kind of horse that just has so much want. Like I said, Constellation had her beat in the Madison. She sold me after that race at Keeneland, and you saw it again today. Deep in the stretch, she was going to go by. Then I thought, okay, Finley's Lucky Charm's the winner here, and then she just has that grit, and she likes to fight. She does.
She absolutely likes to fight, and a good thing about her too is that she has tactical speed. Sometimes we see closing sprinters, sometimes we see horses that need the lead. Wherever she is positioned, she is successful. That's a good one to have in the bag.
That's what Mirror Man said down below. It was like, listen, she was not going to have anything of it, and that's what makes Chad Brown such a great trainer. He had her sharp enough to stay close, knowing his competition, not going to let Finley's Lucky Charm get away. But I still agree that Finley needed to get away a little bit more as to make Paula work. Maybe Paula still would have got there because she does have that heart.
Yeah, let's not take anything away from Finley's Lucky Charm. She was very good.
Yes.
She ran huge today here in her first try at Saratoga.
Well, she ran second to a multiple Grade 1 winner. I mean, to be honest with you, and almost had her beat down the lane.
I think the top 2 horses in the race finished 1-2.
Good one in this year's rendition of the Grade 2 Honorable Miss. And again, probably going to hear a lot more from all the top 3 really in this race. At this point, though, you got to feel pretty good about Finley's Lucky Charm's chances. But not to be denied. I mean, that is just grit and determination for Paula's Silver Lining.
This Paula's Silver Lining has probably given Chad Brown a couple of heart palpitations or two because she really, when she wins pretty narrowly.
Jose Ortiz collects his 7th win of the meet, one behind his older brother, Irad. Time for What's Trending here on Saratoga Live. Always Dreaming, Cloud Computing drawn next to each other in the Jim Dandy. Sure to be an epic race right from the start. We're going to have that for you live on Saturday. Again, our coverage on most networks begins at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday. The Naira tweeting, ready for the rematch? Yes, we are. Always Dreaming and Cloud Computing once again.
Yeah, we are too. What is going to I have a feeling a lot of people are on the cloud computing train and sort of gotten off the Always Dreaming train. And I always say, you leave out Pletcher, you leave in a stretcher, and you forget about Pletcher. That's what happens too. And I think a lot of people are sort of forgetting about Always Dreaming.
They are, but regardless, guys, this is going to be a phenomenal race. This is a historic race. This has never been done before. And how often, as old as Saratoga is, as old as this race is, I believe it's going to be the 54th running this weekend. How often does that happen that we get situations like this? So really excited to see the Jim Dandy this weekend.
Derby winner, Preakness winner, going head-to-head. We'll have it live on Saturday. Of course, it's Military Appreciation Day this afternoon here at Saratoga with a World War II Marine and Patriot
Pretty cool stuff.
flight.
We're not far from West Point as well. You know that, Wolfie, on the drive up here, and just cool stuff. Been seeing flags everywhere on the way here. When I was driving up here, most of the causeways and bridges had flags over them. Just an awesome, awesome day.
Well, we'd love you out there to get social with us. You can find us on Twitter. Use the hashtag as well, Saratoga Live, and maybe you could be part of the show.
Yeah. Tweet at Gabby. She responds to more than I do.
I don't think so. But I love to see pictures that fans take and tweet, and I'd like to be tagged on those just to see all the situations that are happening at Saratoga.
Yeah.
Well, we got the Derby winner. We got the Preakness winner this Saturday here in the Jim Dandy, but across the way, Frank Miramati is going to be calling the Haskell this weekend as well, and it seems like all the other great 3-year-olds from this year's crop are going to be competing in that race.
It's going to be a sensational race. And after Cloud Computing massacres the field in the Jim Dandy and assumes control of the division, all these horses will be looking to get back on track. It's going to be a great day, and you'll be there.
I'm very excited about it. It's a tremendous opportunity. Of course, it's one of the biggest races in the world for 3-year-olds, and it's going to be a very deep field, and Mr. Chad Brown is going to be very tough to deny, in my opinion. I think Timeline is a horse that has yet to be tested, and there are going to be people who question what happened last time. He was just beating an average field, but I think in this situation, he's going to be the one to beat.
We'll talk about him in a moment. Battle of Midway, one of the players near finished third in the Derby. My opinion, he ran well in the Derby, but he took advantage of being on the inside. He beat an overmatched field, but he beat him easily in his last win in the Affirmed.
He's a nice horse. Look at him. And one thing about Jerry Hollendorfer, he would never be shipping him unless he felt he had a very legitimate chance to win. He's not looking for minor awards in this spot. This is a nice-looking son of Smart Strike, but it's up against him in this spot.
Well, he does feel like he's part of the pace, and the pace could be somewhat contentious in here. Now, Practical Joke would like to take advantage of any pace. He's a horse that's better around one turn.
He
showed it last time out when he won the Dwyer, and he was able to get back to what he does well. I compare him a lot to More Than Ready, who he ran in the wrong races for the right reasons. You've got to compete in those Triple Crown races, and under a sensational ride from Joel Rosario, he finished 5th in the Derby and really gave him every chance to win. Now they're going to try the 2 turns. When More Than Ready did that, he made the lead, actually, the MIG rode him that day in mid-stretch and finished 4th in the Haskell. The pace will help him, and if nothing else, he can use this Haskell to turn back for the now Alan Jerkins, the ex-King's Bishop.
I had my cigar out in the Fountain of Youth when he made that move around the far turn. I really thought he was going to just devastate the competition. He didn't, but he's growing up, and his last effort in the Dwyer, I thought, was extremely professional. This is a good time to test him around those 2 turns.
No question about it.
Good
spot.
Smart
the right
move.
spot. It's the right move. And Chad Brown was very happy with his work leading up this race. Now, McCracken, he had some trouble at the start of the Derby. They said he got cut up a little bit. I'm a little dubious of whether or not he belongs at 1 1/8 or he's better off in the Alan Jerkins at 7 furlongs. But he'll get some pace to run at too, Frank.
He won nicely in the Matt Win, but he is another horse that at Monmouth Park, he was going to have to show more speed than he has been used to showing. Even though there will be a legitimate amount of pace in here, McCracken's going to have to step it up. In the Kentucky Derby, he was very well fancied, and Hall of Fame trainer D. Wayne Lucas, Bob Baffert, these guys have always talked about on the road to the Derby, you need everything to go right to have a chance, and that's why McCracken didn't fire.
When Timeline won last time at Monmouth in the prep for this, he rode an extremely strong rail. The horse who chased him all the way to the wire came back and lost to an ex-claimer from New York in a subsequent start. His big wins in New York were an allowance at Aqueduct about a half an hour after we got a huge rainstorm, and then a very sloppy track in the Peter Pan. This is the acid test. I'm a little bit dubious.
I don't know why you are. First of all, the rail has been good at Monmouth for a long
So what?
time.
He doesn't mean he was, but he was still on the gold rail.
Right, but he beat Talk Logistics, and Talk Logistics was so dizzy from the beating he took that day that he lost his next start. That's my theory. I really believe that. He was overmatched, and he just basically had his heart ripped out that day.
Now, Irish War Cry, of course, the hero of our Wood Memorial, and a great story with Rajiv Mirage riding him coming back this year. He'll be down to ride him as well. I thought he ran a sensational and gutsy race in the Belmont Stakes, and he's a big-time player here.
For the most part, if you want feel-good stories, you got to read Dr. Seuss, but this would be a tremendous racing good story as Isabel de Tomaso and Hope Haskell-Jones will be screaming for this horse, and he is a very talented horse. Interestingly, there are going to very possibly be 3 horses out of the same mare running that day, Irish Sovereign's babies.
It's going to be a terrific race day. Frank Kamiramati is jumping out of his skin already, and it's still 4 days away, Greg.
He should be. It's going to be a tremendous race. We're going to hear Frank on the call. Naira Bets has a second chance cash back on the Grade 1 Haskell on Sunday. Bet $20 or more to win on one horse in the race. And if your horse finishes second, $20 credited back to your account. See all the promotions at NairaBets.com. Like Battle of Midway has kind of been the forgotten horse. 3rd in the Kentucky Derby. I know there was sort of almost like a public paid workout in that Affirmed, but he could be dangerous.
He's the Rodney Dangerfield. And he's been the Rodney Dangerfield. You know why? As soon as Mastery got hurt, everybody just forgot about every California horse. He ran a bang-up Santa Anita Derby when he just stayed around the pace. And I thought he ran a bang-up Derby. He's a good horse.
I just think this is going to be a big weekend in terms of clarifying that 3-year-old picture, because it's been a little bit puzzling and confusing up till now.
I'll tell you what. I'm in agreement, too. I do think Timeline has got the most upside, but Battle of Midway is going to give him all he can handle on the front end, and he's a tough customer.
10th race from Saratoga. It's the finale here, mile and a 16th over the inner turf. New York breds here in a 40 maiden claiming event. With more on this group and how they look in the paddock, let's go to Maggie.
And taking a look at some horses that might be decent prices in here, we'll start with number 8. That is Grande Beso. And I find it interesting that the best race that he's run on the turf was the one time that he had those blinkers on. Well, they go back to them here today. Just a short cup on him. And physically, look, this is a horse that carries his weight while he's certainly a good doer. So I think with that equipment back on, that puts Grande Beso right in the mix. Now we'll look at one that takes a drop in class here, and that's number 5, Tiffany's Vision. She is very much, or she was when she came in here, very much on her toes, but she has since settled down a bit since having the saddle on, but still striding out very nicely here. Obviously, she needs the class break overall, and just one that, I don't know, maybe at a price we could maybe find the tote. She could maybe find the tote board or the top 4 finishers as far as superfecta is concerned in a race where there's no real superstars in here, right, Andy?
No, there are no superstars. You're absolutely right, Maggie. These are kind of fun races, Frank, where you try to find some, some prices and move some horses up. Now, she remembered who you singled. I assume you're still alive in the
Absolutely.
pick 4. I'm 11 pick 5 to the 11, 6, 11, and 12. The Naira Betts pick 5. I think she remembered had a very, very good trip last time. Now, that's not to say she can't win here, and she is the horse to beat. But you're talking about a short price and a big field and a horse that comes off of a dream trip. I will never bet those horses.
I think she is a standout, and 2-1 is a price that you will not see for much longer because she should be closer to even money against this field. When you look,
couldn't disagree more.
I understand that's very common for us to sit here and disagree, but I think She Remembered is an excellent play at odds of 2-1.
Yeah, I think she's way, way over. This is a big field, and she doesn't have any huge edge over anybody here. She can win. The 11 America's Princess, I'm very interested in. This is a huge rider change. It's not a big, it's a big rider. It's a huge rider change. It's a bigger rider change than you, Frank. This horse got a way over aggressive ride last time from the inexperienced rider and has improved, in my opinion, since switching to a new barn off the long layoff. You look at Freckle to Freck, who was attending that pace and was almost eased. America's Princess finished only 7 lengths behind after making an insane early move into a fast pace. Better rider, and I think could be the speed in this race in a much more pace-friendly situation.
9-1, you're getting some action on this 5-year-old mare, and outside of her, Freckle to Freck is currently up there at 7-1. Both of them part of the speed. I don't even like either one of them to hit the board. I think the 2 long shots in here, Andy, are the 2 Missy Storm and the 8 Grande Beso. To me, it's 6 with 2-8. I think this is a good betting opportunity to get some value.
I disagree with you. I think Freckle to Freck, if you look at the races 2 and 3 back, they very much put her in the race. And I think last time out she was compromised by being too close to the pace. You and I disagree. I don't think the 6 can clearly win, but 2-1 is too short a price. Some good stuff on the board, guys.
Well, Freckle to Freck, she got some easy leads the last couple of races. Not that last race, but 2nd and 3rd back, and then she still couldn't finish. But huge jockey switch. Jose Ortiz aboard, so we'll see what happens here. That horse at 7-1 here. Should see some pace there from the outside. Nightcap 14 minutes away. Great time to get signed up and started. If you bet 200, you get 200 in your account. Go to NairaBets.com. You can get signed up and started with Naira Bets nationwide. And if you do not reside in New York, being with Naira Bets, the only way to play that Naira Bets late pick 5. Use that promo code PICK5 to get that sign-up bonus. We'll be back with the finale next.
Make Naira Bets your home for online horse racing and betting. Use Naira Bets to bet on live horse racing from around the world. Bet from anywhere, anytime using your computer or mobile device. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up at NairaBets.com and start earning your sign-up bonus today. Naira Bets, racing's best play. Use promo code PICK5 to get a $200 new member sign-up bonus on NairaBets.com.
You're watching Saratoga Live on Fox Sports 2. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday afternoon. It is Military Appreciation Day, and this happened earlier. Sergeant Patrick Malias, the proposal in the winner's circle to Tiffany Davis. They came from South Carolina for Military Appreciation Day. And did she say yes?
I think she said, of course.
I see her, nodding her head. How
Yeah.
could she say no? It's a beautiful day at Saratoga.
Yeah, and the American flag behind him. Congratulations to both of them. The only thing that would be better is if Andy got on one knee to Frank, but well done.
Well, if Frank wins the nightcap, Andy might have to do that.
You know, I enjoy my time with Frank here. He wouldn't want to be married to me.
That's a stone cold fact. You've never said anything more true in your entire life.
That would be the oddest of all odd couples.
Oh, it would be, wouldn't it?
I got my eye on Greg anyway.
West Texas, my friend. El Paso.
Well, you look at this board, and as we have our post parade coming up, one of the more interesting prices, and I didn't like this horse. I thought she got a perfect trip, but the one, Reconsider It, was 5-1 morning line, dropped in for this level for the first time last out, ran second. She's 15-1 right now.
Yeah, I think it's, I'll go to the guys downstairs. John Hurtler, let's just be honest. He's 0 for his last 72, and I think that's why, she's not getting any money.
She's not getting money because she's too slow to win this race. That's not a problem for her.
There she is, trained by John Hurtler, Sam Camacho Jr. aboard, 15-1.
Love to see John Hurtler get this done, and she did run second at a big price last time. I think this is tougher and maybe a little far for her.
David Donk trains the 2, Missy Storm. Hector Diaz Jr. rides.
If you're looking for an upset possibility, Missy Storm should improve off that last effort. It was her first in quite some time. She'll turn the tables on the one, Reconsider It. I like her to finish second.
Sneaky Fudge Face is the 3 for trainer Patrick Kelly with Luis Reyes.
It would make that $232 horse look like a chocolate if she wins this race.
Yeah, 0 for 13 has only hit the board once. The 4, Laurel Lane for trainer Linda Fisher.
When you see 36-1 on a horse with this form, it tells you, yes, I can beat the takeout in any game.
Tiffany's Vision is the 5 here, trained by Leo O'Brien. It's Eric Cancel in the irons.
She would need to improve dramatically, stretching out from her 2 6-furlong efforts.
And the current 8-5 favorite, trained by Jeremiah Engelhardt with Luis Saez, She Remembered.
Knocking on the door, the fans are stepping up like they should. 8-5 and dropping. She Remembered graduates in the finale.
Grande Beso, blinkers go on with Jose Lezcano.
This is the other long shot possibility. Grande Beso, you have to just throw out that last race. They took the blinkers off. Her race 2 starts back would make her interesting to get a piece of it.
Saturday Night Fling, I thought interesting. And here, Rajiv Mirage aboard for Michael DeVito.
Agree that she's interesting. She improved dramatically first time on the turf with Rajiv Mirage. It wasn't a very strong field, but she's not impossible.
Ray Handel trains the 10 Pure Gems with Manny Franco. Blinkers come off.
It was a little bit disappointing last time out. She was a legitimate contender in there. The favorite Divine Cause won easily. She lacked the necessary punch and will have to step up a little bit. It's not completely out of the question.
Angel Arroyo aboard America's Princess for Antonio Arriaga.
I think she's very dangerous, getting a positive rider change, and can be very forwardly placed here.
And here's Freckle to Freck, John Hurley with Jose Ortiz.
The Cross Sabres Farm wins with a lot of horses that are good prices. Andy does make some valid points about her last 2 starts prior to the disappointing effort in the most recent.
And in from the also eligible list, do not forget Prima Atrice for David Duggan with Junior Alvarado.
David Duggan, a very underrated trainer, and she gets a huge rider change to Junior Alvarado, but she would have to get faster.
There is America's Princess, who we didn't catch their first time around with Angel Arroyo.
I like her in here, America's Princess. We said I think that she gets a big rider change and ran very well last time, moving too soon. A player here at a price.
Angel Arroyo does some nice work finishing up the jobs in these races.
And he's an aggressive rider who can get early position. I'm hoping he leaves with her. I don't disagree with you, Frank, that the 6 is the horse to beat. She Remembered. I just think in this field, coming off a perfect trip, tough to take her at a short price. I have no problem with her being the horse to beat. I just don't think she's that short.
I just like the fact she's lightly raced. These others have had a million chances. She's on the improve. It's the ultimate in the 3rd start off the layoff. She took money last time. She fired big. Yes, it was a good trip, but she did the right thing. She should blow right by the competition.
At least I know there are no chalk-eating weasels up on the roof.
Absolutely not.
Well, Andy, we have some disagreement with you up here on the roof because we looked at She Remembered, and there was some trouble for this filly in that race last time out.
Exactly. Andy downstairs was kind of talking about the fact that she had a perfect trip last time out. I really didn't see it that way. I thought she was kind of headstrong and rank on the backstretch, and she was fighting the bridle a bit. That compromised her position. And from there, she was swerving all down the lane. She experienced trouble down the lane, too.
Yeah, I even felt in the stretch ball, when you look at that race, that she was kind of bottled up. She didn't have anywhere to run. And when she finally did get some running room, she showed a great late burst.
Yeah, she did. She showed a good late burst. But the issue that you have with her, she put the blinkers on, and she's gotten a lot better. Was it the blinkers that have made her a more forwardly placed filly, or at least finishing more, or is it the turf? Luis Saez aboard. I tend to agree with Andy. I don't think it was a great backtrack or had a ton of trouble. When you look at some of these horses at the bottom level of 40, they can't like really restart. So I thought it was enough to cost her the race. I'm with you on that. When you look at the 10 in here, Pure Gems, if you just look 2 starts back, this horse beat She Remembered. That was the first time She Remembered was getting on the turf. First time she was off a little bit of a layoff. Pure Gems has not gone long in a while, and for this trainer. And Ray Handel's pretty darn good going from sprint to route. So I thought the 10 was a sort of a sneaky horse here at about 8-1.
Well, sometimes these horses fly under the radar, right? Because you immediately look at the form, and yeah, she's an 0 for 10 maiden, but she hasn't gone a distance of ground for many starts. And that's kind of the same vibe that I get from the 11 America's Princess. You know, she is 0 for 12 maiden, but she competed against Maiden Special Weight Company for quite some time. To me, guys, I still prefer the 2 in here, but I think this is a very interesting race.
I'm with Andy, though. The 11 and with Mirrorman. Antonio Arriaga's got the 2 horses here. The 8 or the 11, the 8 carries over the pick 6. Those are your 2 long shot horses. The 11 ran a lot better with blinkers on last time.
Well, 10-1. Yeah, she was 44-1 last time out with more on America's Princess. Let's go to Maggie.
Paulie, that's for sure. Antonio Arriaga is my man here in the last races. I like the appearance of both of his horses in the finale. We'll touch on number 11, America's Princess, as she is 4th off of a layoff. And as Andy said, she should be forwardly placed in here. Well, she's gotten a pretty aggressive warm-up from rider Angel Arroyo. Also an improvement from her last race, and she just looked fantastic. I mean, just very strong overall, and looks as though she's been raced into fitness, and this might be the time to strike with America's Princess. Andy?
Just an interesting horse at a price. I'm also going to very strongly disagree. I think one of the mistakes that people make, or at least a disagreement that I have of people watching races, is they see a horse a little rank or they see a little bit of trouble, and they don't take into account all the good things that happen to a horse. You can't just say, oh, the horse had a little trouble. Now, I don't think Gabby's wrong. By saying a perfect trip, that's overstating it. She's absolutely right. But in general, She Remembered had much more good happen to her in that race than bad. And to me, that's the most important factor when you start looking at trips and trying to dissect them.
I don't think you can hold anything about her trip against her. She is the legitimate favorite in this spot. She fired. It was her first attempt at the distance of 1 mile and a 16th, whereas these others, many of them have had many, many chances over and over again. She proved that going a little bit further was not going to be a problem. Her daddy Misremembered, of course, was a very nice horse.
There's your losing bet. Am I booking that?
You're more than welcome to. In fact, if you want to,
I wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't want to root against my friend Frank.
It's okay. You're going to go with the 11. I'll tell you what. I'll put a cigar in my mouth booking that action right there, though. 20-1 on number 11.
You couldn't afford to pay me.
I understand.
Somebody just asked me if you own the 6.
I
you
don't.
A piece of this horse?
To me, when I looked at this race, I'm like, this is the cinch of the day, and that's why I played a very small ticket.
In a 12-horse New York-bred maiden claiming field, the cinch of the day?
That's what I thought when I looked at the race.
Just went up. The more you talk her up, she's going up in odds.
That's okay, but at the end, you know what? I will say this. In general, favorites get overbet in the finale, and I typically try to stay as far away from the favorite as possible.
I don't know. That's a Harvey Pack would disagree with that. Sometimes, don't you? I'm wondering what Paul thinks about this. I think sometimes the short-priced horses actually go up in the last races. People are looking to get out.
I'm with you. I think sometimes you're looking for the price, right, in the last to get out, and sometimes you'll get the favorite. I understand where Mirrorman's going, because if you're down a couple $100, hey, a $200 or $100 win bet on the 6 gets you back. But I think you get better value. I'm with Andy. Get better value because people are trying to get out.
Well, in a race, even if it is the 6, it's a race where Gabby can try and create a little value here underneath.
Yeah, I actually agree with Frank in terms of using the 2 Missy Storm in here. I do prefer her best. I think she's got a lot of potential here. Not only is it her second start off the layoff, I think she's better posted today. Last time out, she was posted to the outside. Today, she gets a good ground-saving trip. I think she's better with more distance. And last time out, again, she was widest of all, turning for home. So she can make a big step forward. I'm hoping for a nice price in today's finale.
Now, where you have in this race, the 1 was 103-1, 2 starts back. The 3's been over 60-1. The 4's been over 100-1. The 5, 80-1. When you look at a lot of these horses were not getting bet besides the horses that are getting bet today, which is the 6, the 10, the 12. The 11's getting bet because of the Andy Serling fan club.
I just rewatched the 6's last race. I stand by my original statement. The perfect trip of a lifetime.
I understand,
An
but
unbelievably beautiful ride by Louis
Sanchez.
Andy Serling will teach you how to watch it.
Frank.
Who cares? I mean, it's like you have to get
Andy,
a penalty,
let me say this, though.
penalty.
I care.
But
Andy.
you're allowed to have a good trip.
At this type of level, though, too, horses that have a little bit of trouble, it's magnified because they don't have that kind of talent.
She didn't have any trouble. She had a beautiful trip.
I don't think you can say that if you watch the whole race.
Please watch some
Look
Trips
at
and
the money
Traps
that just went
episodes
to
to
the
learn how to
sixer.
watch races.
Let's send it upstairs to Larry Colmus. He has the call here, the nightcap from Saratoga.
America's Princess has moved into the starting gate. Tiffany's Vision is stepping up to line. Looking at the tote board, She Remembered, who will be the next one in, is the favorite at odds of 3-2. As she comes up to the gate, and that will leave Freckle de Freck and Prima Atrice to complete the line here. She Remembered, just a bit hesitant to come forward. Now she steps in. Here comes Prima Atrice up to the outside stall. Goes in. They're all in line. Acting up here in the starting gate, very restless, is Saturday Night Fling, who is unseated. Rajiv Mirage in the gate. It looks like we may have a delay here with Saturday Night Fling acting up in the starting gate here.
Well, that was Saturday Night Fling, the 9-horse rearing in the gate.
Oh, no,
Rajiv Mirage.
No, they're carrying Rajiv to the left now. I'm sorry, Wolf, I didn't mean to cut you off, but they just carried Rajiv Mirage off the track, and he looked like he might have hurt himself. He was on the ground there. You see him right there. You could tell for a little bit. I couldn't tell if he was underneath the horse while he was slashing, but you could tell Rajiv something with his lower leg there, Gabby.
I would say his left leg. It looked like he was kind of holding his left leg. So we'll see. They did take the tack off of the 9 Saturday Night Fling. It does appear that Rajiv is now standing, but with the help of 2 other people.
Gosh darn it. He just came off a big injury, too, you know, and he's been riding well. And obviously Larry announcing that he's a scratch right now. Now, don't forget here, they usually just go ahead and reload and go. I don't know if they're going to even change anything. Hopefully Rajiv can walk it off.
Mirage wasn't even sure if he's going to be able to ride again. A couple of doctors told him he would not be able to. He got a third opinion, and he was in for a long, long rehab. And then it was a great moment when he came back and won the Wood Memorial earlier this year on Irish War Cry. So hate to see any kind of injury, but especially with what Rajiv has been through.
And it looks like they're starting to back them all out now. It looks like they took the 13 out now, Prima Atrice, and now they're going to back them all out. And it's the right thing to do. Maybe they're going to squeeze the numbers together, but you can see gingerly Rajiv. You know, when you're an athlete, it always goes through your mind the worst.
Mm-hmm.
What's going to happen when I go under the X-ray machine, or do I even want to go into the MRI machine? And hopefully everything is okay with the horse as well.
Yes, absolutely. And very happy to see Rajiv walking on his own efforts there. And, you know, scary moments in the gate. It did look like he was kind of under the gate for a second as Philly was rearing up in the gate, but good to see him walking.
Saturday Night Fling appeared to be thrashing, rearing up, and Rajiv was on the ground in there. So very dangerous situation. This is great to just be able to see him walking under his own power.
It really is. And don't forget, if you're live in your NYRA pick 5 or your pick 4, you're now going to go to Frank Miramati and the 6 in here at 3-2. She remembered as they take a look at Saturday Night Fling. They got her off the turf course.
And meanwhile, Rajiv Mirage walking off to applause from the fans here for this nightcap. And obviously, we'll have an update for you on tomorrow's show.
Yeah,
but
hopefully
we
he's okay.
certainly saw him favoring one of his legs there. As they will move the numbers over. They take the 9 off the board. Really doesn't change things in terms really at all in terms of pace of this race.
I don't think it does. You know, Saturday Night Fling was a horse that improved a lot and I thought had an outside shot. But, yeah, it was a horse that was going to launch from way back.
Exactly. Yeah, she definitely improved on the turf. But we'll have to wait for another day here as they reload the horses. They're getting ready to do it now.
Well, loading back up here after this delay. So late scratch of the 9. And it is She Remembered, who is now an 8-5, very solid favorite here, waiting to load back up. For Jeremiah Engelhardt, Luis Saez aboard there.
We kid, but we're rooting for the 6 because Mirrorman gave out a $9 ticket, and he's alive if you went to NYRA.com. And I don't know what the will pays are, but it's got to be more than $9.
Well done by Frank. Let's see if we can get it home. As we reload, great job as well by the starting gate crew to, first of all, help Rajiv out in that situation, and then to get that 9 off the board, and everyone moved over so quickly here.
They do a great job. It's one of the hardest jobs on the track, but all the assistant starters, they do a fantastic job everywhere, but especially here in New York.
We talk about Rodney Dangerfield. They are all the Rodney Dangerfields of racing.
Send it back upstairs to Larry Colmus for the call here, this nightcap from Saratoga.
So still 2 left to load here. Tiffany's Vision, who's moving into the starting gate, and the last one will be Prima Treese, 8-5 right now on She Remembered. Prima Treese steps up and in, all in line. They're off. Good beginning for Pure Gems, who goes out to lead them early. On the far outside, Freckle de Freck is prominent too, and from the inside, it's Laurel Lane and Sneaky Fudge Face, and right up there too is America's Princess. Then a break of another 2 lengths more, and they're followed by Reconsider It, who's down on the inside. Prima Treese 3 wide into that turn. Break of another 2 back to She Remembered, who's racing on the outside of Missy Storm, who saves all the ground on that clubhouse turn. And then a 3-length gap back to Tiffany's Vision and Grande Beso. 23.14 was the first quarter. On to the backstretch they go, led by Sneaky Fudge Face, who is on top by a neck. Freckle de Freck on the outside, second. America's Princess third. Laurel Lane fourth on the inside, right in behind the leaders. Then Pure Gems on the far outside. Prima Treese, Reconsider It has the inside. Then Missy Storm and She Remembered past a 48 flat half mile. After that, it's Grande Beso on the outside of Tiffany's Vision. They're about 7 lengths off the lead as the field makes their way for the far turn. Sneaky Fudge Face and Freckle de Freck fight it out into the turn. America's Princess is a length behind them. Then Pure Gems. Prima Treese is next. She Remembered the favorite. 3 wide on the turn outside of Missy Storm, while Reconsider It rides the rail. And then it's Grande Beso on the outside. Now it's Freckle de Freck, who will turn for home in front. Sneaky Fudge Face is given way. America's Princess is on the outside. Here comes in the center of the track She Remembered, along with Missy Storm splitting horses. Tight spot there. America's Princess had to steady behind them. Reconsider It's closing on the far outside. She Remembered, Missy Storm. Reconsider It down the outside. It's Missy Storm and She Remembered. Head and head, nose to nose, down to the wire. Look like Missy Storm, and a photo with She Remembered. And then it was Reconsider It, and it's close for fourth in 1 minute 43.94 seconds.
Missy's Storm outduels She Remembered in a thrilling finish here in the finale.
Honk for donk, and what a ride here by Hector Diaz. Good call by Gabby Gaudet. And a 5-1 shot, I believe, carries over the pick 6, my friend.
All right, we'll have that news for you when we come back here. Missy's Storm outduels the 8-5 post-time favorite. This was fun here down the stretch, but in the end, it's Hector Diaz Jr., David Donk, his tremendous late run at the Belmont meet carrying over here to Saratoga. We'll be back right after this.
there's
Back on Saratoga Live, it was a photo finish in the finale, but it was the two Missy Storm, Hector Diaz Jr. for trainer David Donk, outdueling She Remembered for Luis Saez and Jeremiah Engelhardt. 2-6-1-11 finish and an absolute thriller here in the nightcap. Well done by trainer David Donk and Hector Diaz Jr. to get the win. Hope you enjoyed our Wednesday afternoon coverage. We want to thank Frank Miramati. You'll hear him on the call of the Haskell from Monmouth later this weekend. We're back tomorrow at 4 Eastern. We'll see you then.
Use NyraBets to bet on live horse racing from around the world. Bet from anywhere, anytime using your computer or mobile device. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up at NyraBets.com and start earning your sign-up bonus today. NyraBets, racing's best play. Use promo code PICK5 to get a $200 new member sign-up bonus on NyraBets.com.
And they're off in New York. The premier state bred program in the United States. When you own a New York bred, your horse can run for more than $44 million in purses restricted to registered New York breds. And the New York program pays awards to breeders, owners, and stallion owners when their New York breds finish first, second, or third at New York tracks. We have the quality.
Dakota, they won't catch Monin. Monin wins the February Stakes.
You have the opportunity. New York breds. Get with the program. The best program.
Dollar exacted 2-6, $21.60. The consolation double 3-9, $2.40. The double of 3 and 2, $23.60. 50-cent trifecta 261, $44.50. 10-cent super 261.11, $57.95. Pick 3 of 10.39. That's a consolation that paid $11.10. The pick 3 of 10, 3 and 2, $91.25. The pick 4 pays $183.50. The NyraBets late pick 5 today pays $539.50. And in the pick 6, all 6 winners paid $39,288, and 5 out of 6 paid $235. So that will do it for our racing program. We will be back tomorrow with post time for the first race at 1 o'clock. Thanks for coming to the races today. Please drive safely. Good night.